turn it up once again. Everything that start gotta end. So don't waste time, get it in. Why wait? Say it tomorrow, but you got today. Put them excuses away. Pick up the pace. If you really want it, then you gotta chase. Hey, I need a whole lot of space, make some room. I gotta prove that I'm nothing like you. And I'ma do it. If it's in the way, then we going through it. Like a Peloton, gotta keep it moving. Talk is too cheap, you just gotta do it. You ain't gotta like it cause it's stats approve. Only one way. Gotta bring it straight to their face. Ain't nobody safe. Plus it's only one first place. Know what that means? This ain't a fight, it's a war. We focus on up in the score. If you think you better than battle. If you really win it, then battle. Just battle. If you think you better than battle.
Let's get it.
Only first place finishes, so I seek and destroy every one of my nemesis. My power limitless, and my scorecard is perfect, it don't have no blemishes. No apologies, cause I ain't ya, it's just my nature that makes me a different type of creature. I'm a bitcher, bonafide gamer. Before you play me, better read the disclaimer. I'm that force to be reckoned with. I know your mama didn't warn you, you shouldn't be messing with. You don't compare to me. We're not the same, there's no similarity. Moment of clarity, you should be scared of me. Run all, you'll never get rid of me. So incredibly outdone. If we go to war, I'm the one you can't outrun.
Only one way. Gotta bring it straight to their face. Ain't nobody safe. Plus it's only one first place. Know what that means? This ain't a fight, it's a war. We focus on up in the score. If you think you better than battle. If you really win it, then battle. Just battle. If you think you better than battle. Just battle. If you really win it, then battle. Just battle. If you think you better, then battle me. When it's time to ball. We back in the field, we ready, it's time. It's nothing but hustle inside of the huddle, you know that I grind. A dangerous mind, a weapon of choice when pushing the line. Go overtime and I won't break when it's crunch time. My end game is number one. Bet it all, give me my cash. Supreme game, can't stop it. Take off like a rocket. Break it back, don't bend mine. I'm the one now, you can't hide. Legendary like legacy. This is our moment, our time. This is our moment. This is our time. Time is now. It's time to rise. This is our moment. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise. Yeah. Coming for glory. We ready for war. The city's behind us. We giving you more. We ready whenever. The world is watching. The time is now. No other option. No other way. Play to win the way that we play. Destined for greatness. Born to be
Side time. Feet in the dirt. Nose to the ground. Like the crack of dawn. You can't stop the shine. Moment after moment. Day after day. It's our time.
Lock and loaded, it's time for war. Ha. Tear it down, kick in the door. Yeah, I want it all, give me some more. Ha. I want it all, give me some more. I want it all, give me some more. Yeah. Kill 'em all, it's time for war. It's time for war. Like pandemonium, I set it off. Yeah. Sacrifice, I bear the cross. Legendary, I'm a big dog. Hard knock on the front line. Pure blood, my bloodline. Headshots the first time. My aim good, bullseye. Warfare. Don't play fair, don't play fair. You not sure? Don't go there, I'm right here. No fear, I'm ready to go at top speed. No brick wall can block me. No army can stop me. Yeah, I want it all and I can't lose. I came far and I won't stop. This my time, I pay dues. Yeah, it's war time and I won't retreat. I want it all, give me some more. I kill them all, won't taste defeat. Now bow down at the king's feet. It's time for war. I want it all, give me some more. Kill 'em all, it's time for war. Kill 'em all, it's time for war. It's time for war.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I am not Wesley Allen. He'll be here momentarily. I am Charles Wooten, your temporary host, alongside Ken and Brockton. And we'll introduce Ken because you probably don't know who he is, but you might know who Brockton is. That being said, we're going to go ahead and introduce him here. And Brockton, I think we're going to have a good race. I said it was super late models, but this is not super late models. These are street stocks. A little bit different, maybe a little slower, but still should be a really, really good night of racing.
Yeah, these are definitely not super late models, but they have a little less power and a little bit harder to drive, in my opinion. That less power definitely gives them a bit more of a loose and harder to drive feel with some of these drivers. So it should be a good race. A very fun track with these cars, Lucas Oil Speedway, excuse me. So it should be a very fun night.
Definitely you should, and we'll go ahead and bring in our color analyst number 2, Ken. Ken, we were glad to have you here with Skasset Speedway, obviously sponsoring this event, so we brought you in, and we're glad to have you here. And how's your day going?
Going good, guys. Thank you very much for having me here. I recognize some of the names on the chart here that's going to be driving tonight, and looking forward to it. And like you guys said, going to a street stock is definitely something a little bit different. It's going to kind of highlight the guys who are able to maybe drive them a little bit instead of just riding along.
Yeah, it definitely will. And, we found out right away. He was like, hey, I know that guy. We were watching a little bit of practice a little while. Practice still ongoing. And I want to point out, we got new bells and whistles. Obviously, counting down the green says 6.5 minutes, basically, where it says 3.5 on the clock up there. That is because we typically don't cover qualifying. We like to surprise you with the grid, because what's the point in a grid if you already know where they're starting anyway? So that's why we have that a little bit different there. But Brockton, you said coming into this you haven't really raced on Lucas Oil. I haven't either. This track came out after I stopped racing on the sim and went into full production mode. But a very iconic track, and I mentioned this earlier. I think we're going to see some good racing, but the new damage model with these cars is going to be cool too if we get a big pile up.
Absolutely. I haven't turned many laps, if any laps, at Lucas Oil before, but I can see, just based off of the characteristics of the car and the track at the moment, these guys are slipping and sliding around. It's going to be a tire save and kind of a how can you play with your throttle to get the car pitched in the right direction to get that really good run off turns 4 and 2. But these guys, if they wreck, and if it's in the middle of the pack or front of the pack, we're going to see bumpers, tires, everything going flying with that new damage model. So, again, another sentiment to iRacing and their graphics department of how just spot on some of this stuff is. So it should be a very, very fun night. And as you can see, stuff already kicking off on the track.
Yeah, it is, and we'll. Speaking of kicking off, we'll kick it over to Ken real quick. Ken, just since we have you here, when does when do y'all start racing at your track, and when do you get back behind the mic and call some real racing?
It'll be here before you know it. Our opening day will be April 22nd. We do have a couple weeks of practice before that, but we hit the track for real on April 22nd and run every weekend right through to mid-October. So another big, busy season is ahead for us, and looking forward to it.
Definitely, as much as I like producing sim racing, I love producing the real racing just as much, if not more. And Brockton, you get to experience some real racing with your activities as well as we can see it hanging in the background. So, are you ready to get back to some real world racing stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. That 3 months doesn't sound like a long off season, but when you're not doing anything in the real world racing, it definitely is. It definitely takes a lot longer than it feels like it should. So I'm excited to maybe step into a new position coming up in the near future with real life racing and kind of find some new opportunities. But I definitely miss being at the track. I miss working on the cars and just being around it. It's definitely the best place you could be. So I can't wait to get back on the track and in the shop and all that.
Definitely good. And let's just take a look here real quick. We'll take a look at those weather conditions and get that out of the way for us. And you can see Kaufman created weather conditions, very hot track, 73 degrees. The air temp, 3 mile per hour winds. But Brockton, 102 degrees on that track. That's borderline cooking some eggs at this point.
Yeah, we're cooking some tires for sure, I can tell you that. So these guys already slipping and sliding with a car that doesn't normally handle too well on its own, and you add in a 102 degree track temp, and you're hanging that rear end a lot more than you probably want, which is why we're seeing some of these guys struggle getting laps in and getting solid lap times in, as we're seeing a couple guys try and just drift it around and see if there's any time there. So that track temp is definitely going to play a factor. If we can get a little bit further into the day, maybe it'll cool down, but 102 is scalding hot.
It definitely is. And there we go. We're just getting a word in our ear from Race Control. That's top 10 do lock in here from time trials. And, we while we're watching a little bit of practice ongoing, we don't cover it. We want to point out the stuff we've done over the summer here real quick. The new countdown. We've worked on the ticker. This is all for the fans. And these people out there watching, the drivers, that's why we do this, to make a good show for them. So hopefully everybody out there tuning in is enjoying the broadcast here tonight. And, I just look forward to what 2023 has to bring. And, it's kind of a shame that the main stuff is only during the winter, but we're glad to have them here, and looking forward to seeing what kind of show they're going to put for us, Brockton.
Yeah, absolutely. Over the winter months is a great time to find some new leagues to be involved with and find some great new places to watch them, like LSRTV, and we're blessed and thankful for everybody watching right now. I see there's 22 people on the YouTube feed, so hope everybody's having a wonderful, Wednesday night? So I hope everybody's having a good time.
Indeed, the only broadcast here for the week. And then, of course, we move on to the podcast this Sunday. We'll see what we talk about when we get to the podcast. Not set in stone yet, but we will be talking about something, whether it's real racing or sim racing. We will be talking about it with about a minute left to go here. You can see a couple of cars going around the track, but we'll take a quick peek real fast at just your top five here from qualifying. Right now you got, looks like Logan Melcher out front, followed by Nick Dyer, Braden Conover. We got Boobar and Jordan are your top five so far. So Ken will bring you in here for these last few seconds. Any of those top five from Real Racing, or are those sim guys here tonight?
Well, the guy right at the top of the speed chart, Logan Melcher, is one of our Pro Stock guys. He actually finished second in our Pro Stock points last summer, and is quite a popular driver at Wiscasset Speedway.
There you go. We got, we don't want to pit them against each other, but it almost comes down to the sim guys versus the real guys. We're just happy they're here together racing. It's really cool to see the two worlds merge together. And our clock can end a little bit sooner than theirs. Obviously, we didn't take into account for the few seconds where it does kind of merge over from one session to the other. But again, top 10 are locking in from qualifying, so we will not see those guys till the end of the night. And we have up to 4 heat races here tonight, Brockton, and we're about to find out how many of them 4 we actually use. And I'd imagine it's going to be somewhere around 2 or 3, and it is 3 heat races that we are going to. So we'll just go through them real quick here for you, and I'll save you, Brockton. I know you're not familiar with these names, myself neither, so if anybody's going to butcher them, it probably should be the main guy here, so I'll butcher them myself for you as we'll get to the qual grid. It's going to be Nick Hinckley in the 122 on row 1 alongside Ed Conley in the 111. Row number 2 is going to be, again, I've never learned to, I believe it's McLaughlin, Andrew McLaughlin in the 26 and the 51 of Travis Pouliot. Again, we're just going to run with these. We hope we get them right. The 60 of Caleb Willett in the row 3 on the outside is going to be Gleason Smith in the 5. Row 4 going to be Arthur Jordan in the 4. And the 90 of Kyle Mooney. And looking back, then shotgun at the rear of the field, row 5 is going to be Justin Gallix. Again, I apologize for mispronouncing any names. Typically, I'm not in the booth. We don't have Wesley yet, so I'm not sure where he is. So we do apologize for that. But Brockton, a stout field here. Should be some really, really good racing as we got the 122 with that Flex Seal machine on pole.
Yeah, I think these guys are all very tight in times. The short track, there's a lot of different lines that end up getting the same times. So it should be a very stout race and a very good race as we roll off for the pace laps.
Yeah, now we see them splitting that little island there as we're going for 2 laps of pacing here before we get to going. And again, real fast, before it gets crazy and hectic, we want to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight to LSRTV as we're watching iRacing on LSRTV for the Maine Sim Racing Series. And Ken, again, we're glad to have you here, and the chaos and the storm is about to happen.
Yeah, it's about to happen, and I'm interested to see what this cat in the 122 is going to do. Nick Hinckley, he's actually a 4-time champion at Wiscasset, 2 in late model and 2 in pro stock. He's never wheeled a street stock at Wiscasset Speedway. When he started racing, he jumped right from a mini stock into a late model, so he's never wheeled one of these things in real life, so I'm interested to see what he does tonight.
Well, that just makes it even better here to see how he does. If he does manage to wreck the car, at least he's got Flex Seal on there. He can get some of that flex tape and bandage the car back together. But this will be interesting. And we'll definitely get with Ken throughout the race, and we'll definitely get with him for that feature. We'll see who is the real drivers, who's the sim racers, or both, obviously, because some of them playing double duty. But green flag about to drop here for the first time at Lucas Oil, and we are racing. And green flag is out as we're going to be watching that 122 of Hinkley. He's going to take to the high side as you have the 111 right behind him, Connolly. Brockton, you see him going 3 wide, almost going into the corner.
Yeah, and we've already got contact. Another car almost around, possibly the 90 car. I know it was the 60 of Whitlow. He got a little sideways coming off of turn 2 there, but these guys, we got to crash the 111 almost upside down there. Hard into the wall, the 51.
Well, we were afraid a big wreck would happen, and indeed it does. And we got him going into the grass, doing some extracurricular activities around here. Again, we'll go to replays during the main race as they're going to go quick here, but looks like Pouliot involved. Again, probably getting that wrong, Travis. I apologize. Ed Conley looks to be involved. Justin involved in possibly in the 25. He may have got out unscathed, but so far, Ken, as we throw it back to you, he may not have done it in real life, but Hinkley's out front leading this thing. Looks a little beaten and banged a little bit on the side, but so far, he's still out front.
Yeah, I think he's got it down pretty well already. He's a wheelman for sure, so I'm sure he'll be able to transition to this pretty well. Kind of surprised to see Andrew McLaughlin struggle a little bit. He's always been smooth on the racetrack and on the sim here as well.
I'll definitely see how they do throughout the entirety of this race, and hopefully we do get Wesley here with us momentarily. Not sure, maybe an emergency came up, but 12 laps to go. You can see caution laps not counting. They used to count the caution laps, or not count them. They are counting now. Got that backwards in my head, but caution laps are counting. They didn't used to count, but the races seemed to drag on, and they were getting time limits. So now we are just running it straight, letting those caution laps count. And Brockton, that's not good if you want to get to the front. If you're someone like Willette, Smith, McLaughlin back there, Mooney, you want to be able to get to the front so you can transfer into that A main later on tonight.
Yeah, and having the caution laps count kind of forces these drivers to be what I like to call cautiously aggressive, as the 60 almost takes the rear end off of the 122 there. You got to be cautiously aggressive. Make sure you don't rough the guy up too much. You got to make sure you keep it clean so you can always get that the forward progress. But I would like to point out that rumor has it from my friends who have run late models and things like that, these street stocks run very similar to what a late model is supposed to run like. I don't know. I've never run anything in real life, but they say that these run pretty similar.
Well, that'll be interesting to find out in the post-race show. We'll talk to these guys and see what they have to say about them as we come to take the green flag with 10 laps to go out of the 15 slated. And it's still Hinkley out front. Smith trying to run him down, though, as they're going to go a little bit side by side, but not as much as I thought they would. I figured these guys would beat and bang a little bit more, but they're taking it quite easy. And as I say that, we're going to go 2 wide into the corner.
Yeah, and these tires are still pretty cold. We only had about a lap and a half of green flag running, so that 122 of Hinkley going to run that top side. If he's going to get loose, he's just going to brush the wall a little bit. Meanwhile, Smith and Whittle going side by side and side by side further back between McLaughlin and Moonley, giving McLaughlin a little bit of a cold shoulder going up the track. McLaughlin closing the door on that 90 car. He's going to get that 4th position. Further up front, however, the 122 of Hinkley trying to fend off the 6, getting that bottom line rolling, but they are neck and neck, Charles, for second, and 3 wide.
Yeah, he definitely is. And 3 wide, this is not going to work. And now you see why it's not going to work right there.
Oh, he could have saved it. Oh.
Oh, and here we go. It
And
finally
there
does
goes.
go. And we're going to have a call. Oh, God, right in the nose. We almost avoided that caution, but unfortunately, it just did not work.
Yeah, that was a tough one there. I think it maybe could have been avoided a little bit. But these cars are just hard to catch sometimes, so that 60 was working the wheel pretty good, but hip checked the real driver. I don't think the tempers are going to be too pleased inside these race cars.
Yeah, needless to say, Christmas is a long way off. Maybe they'll still get a Christmas card later on this year. But as of right now, maybe not. But we'll see how that progresses. I can tell you someone who's not going to get a Christmas card, and that's Wesley if he don't show up here. I ain't giving him a Christmas card this year. So we do have a new leader, though. Hinkley has dropped down to third throughout all of that, beating and banging and going back and fourth. So, he didn't he just lost it, so it wasn't that he just got outran. It was just a lot of beating and banging, and, when that caution was thrown, it resulted in him not having the lead. So Caleb Willett has the lead at the moment in the 60 machine, and we have now 5 laps to go as they cross the line. We'll have lights are off, so we'll have 4 to go when we take that green flag. That's not a lot of laps on this tiny little track, so if you're going to get to the front and win your heat race, you're going to have to do it quick.
Yeah, you only get 3/8 of a mile a lap around here, so these laps click off quick. Under 25-second average lap times, so these guys are pedal to the metal, trying everything they can, but I wouldn't be surprised if that 122 got to the back bumper of the 60 and used the Phil Swift, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he is definitely going to have to try something here as we take the green flag with 4 laps to go here in heat race number 1, and that 122 of Hinkley's trying to make something happen. And we'll see if he's able to actually, progress a couple of spots and get back to where he started and where he wants to be. But, Ken, we'll throw it to you real quick as these guys battle for the lead. Do you think Hinkley has what it takes to try to get this lead back and get the win here in Heat Race 1?
Yeah, he knows to wait and see if these guys have the win. But those 2 guys up front are making it tough for sure.
And they definitely are making it very tough for him. And we'll see, again, how it all plays out. Right now is Willett, McLaughlin, and Hinkley are your top 3. And they're going to battle it out as we come to 2 to go here at Lucas Oil for the Maine Sim Series, or Maine Sim Racing Series. Again, this whole racing night is brought to you by Wiscasset Speedway, sponsoring it. That's obviously where Ken is from. Announces there in real life. Brockton, we're coming to take that white flag, and it's going to be 1 more lap around here for heat race number 1.
Yeah, and right now, very wide goes the 122. The 122 spins, but right now it's Whittle up front. And he's parked in the middle of the track as the 122. White flag was out, however, so no caution. Whittle trying to get away from McLaughlin. McLaughlin about a car length and a half back. He's going to send it. Only gets to about half a car length back, so it's going to be the 60 of Whittle coming home with the win. McLaughlin P2 and Connolly P3. And he sends it across the line. I don't think the boys back at the shop are going to be too pleased with that.
Yeah, definitely not. That's something you don't do in real life that you can do here on the sim is just basically obliterate the car when it's done. But it's going to be Willett, McLaughlin, Conley, and Smith and Jordan going to be your top 5 as we move on to heat race number 2 of 3 here for tonight. And they are wasting no time getting down on the tracks. We'll waste no time with them on the inside. Going to be Dylan Turner in the 19 and Dominic Kirk in the 82 on the outside, row 1. Row 2, inside and outside, going to be Scott Tapley in the 13 and the 24 of Brian Treadwell on the outside. Row 3 going to be the 66 of William Barkers and the 23 of Cody Billings. In row 4, going to be the 86 of Dan DeSanto and the 28 of Sean Kimball, who obviously is race control. He will not be racing here in this race, and that'll do it for heat race number 1 starting grid. But, some heavy hitters in here as well, and we'll throw it back to Ken. Ken, any real-life ones in this one, or are these all sim as well?
Dom Currid in the number 82. He's been at Wiscasset now for 4 or 5 years. Actually, at one time was the youngest winner in the track's 50-year history. But lately running super streets, limited sportsman, and doing quite well.
We'll look to see how Kirk does here in that 82 machine stacked up against these guys. And, as a real-life announcer, Ken, coming to get to do it here, what are your thoughts here? We always like to get thoughts. You don't even have to have iRacing. You can sit here and call the race. What are your thoughts on how this whole works here, being from the real world?
I think it's kind of neat. It's a bit of a transition for me. The big thing that's missing, obviously, is the smell and just the immediate energy of the crowd and what's happening on the track. But the graphics of this stuff is absolutely amazing, and I imagine the drivability of the cars is the same way. It's so realistic now. These guys are really getting some legitimate seat time by doing this.
Yeah, I have to occur. The one thing you do miss is, the crowd, the real sound of the cars, and let's be honest, I do a lot of dirt racing. So, dirt or rubber chunks in your hot dog when you're in the stands, you don't get that with with sim racing. But hey, during the winter, when you're in Texas and it snows yesterday, you're glad to have sim racing where you can still do something in the comfort of your house. That being said,
up here in Maine, we got over a foot of snow yesterday up in parts of the state here. So this is great for these guys.
Yeah, and we didn't quite get a foot. I think we got like 3-4 inches. Some places got 6, but I don't think Texas can handle a foot. We'd probably lose our minds down here. But green flag is out. 15 laps to go for heat race number 2 of 3. And right now it's Kurt out front in that 82 machine, but number 19 of Turner is right on his back fender. And, Brockton, he may get him. We'll see. He's not going to get him this lap, though.
Yeah, during practice, I did notice that Turner was able to run that inside line and the outside line fairly consistently. I didn't normally see that 19 backwards, so we'll see if he can maybe find a little bit more pace. But right now, Kurt has been able to keep that 82 out front on the very high side, but he is losing a little bit of time up there as the 19, gets really loose on there, able to keep it steady, but they got to watch out because Tapley right now in that 13, he's slowly closing that gap.
Yeah, Tapley right there. He'll be tapping on their bumpers here momentarily. Go a little further back. Actually, no, we'll go back to the front as the pass for the lead is underway. Turner trying to get by, and he'll pass him, but he gets loose. That ain't how you do it right there. You got to get by him and complete the pass. He can't quite do it, and it'll go right back to Kurt. Sometimes it's better to be luckier than good, and the 82 is good, but he got lucky right there, too.
Yeah, the 19's just warming up his tires. That's what you got to tell yourself when you get loose. You're just warming those tires up a little bit quicker, and it'll stick next time. And here comes next time. They're side by side coming across the line. Currit up top, Turner on the bottom. Turner going straight to the 82's door. He's going to try and get the diamond off the corner, and he's closer this time. He might be able to get him because Currit got loose off of 2. He's now on the rear bumper. And there might have been a little bit of contact behind them, but don't look now. The 13's on the back bumper of the 19.
Yeah, he is right there. Again, when he got loose, the 19 of Turner got loose, and, it kind of checked him up a little bit. If you're the 82, you kind of have to be mindful. He's sideways, so you don't want to keep going full throttle in case he comes up. So that checked both of them up, allowing the 13 of Tapley to get there. And now we have a 3-car battle, as you just mentioned here, for heat race number 2 for the win. And, time will tell who wins, but we are now 10 laps to go, make it 9 to go, as it looks like Kurt's going to slide up the track a little bit, allowing Turner to get to the inside again.
Yeah, and behind him, Tapley got very, very loose. So that's going to give the front 2 a little bit more breathing room, as he's now half a second behind. But, man, Turner's just trying to get any ground on the bottom side. It's just not quite there yet. There goes Kurt down to the bottom to block. That might be able to give Turner all he needed. He's going to be able to get the run. Seeing coming off of 2, where does he go with the run? He's going to stick right to the back bumper and go even higher. than Kurt on the beginning of the turn, and he's going to cut down. He's going to have a little bit of momentum, and they're going to be side by side. The 19 gets loose. 7 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, from the way it's looking here, that top side is definitely a little bit more dominant. You know, you can get a run on the bottom, but it seems like, unless it's just Turner's car possibly, that it's just getting loose every time he gets to get underneath him. So maybe the top side is the way to go. And as I say that, it looks like Kurt's going to get loose on the top, and he's still going to manage to hang on to the lead here with 6 laps to go.
Oh, and they make contact. Oh, what a save. Did he get it? Oh, he got it. What a save by Turner. And he's going to almost come out with the lead. He was sideways through that entire turn. And that's going to give Kurt just a little bit of room that he was looking for. Now about a car length separates the top 2 and another car length back to Tapley, excuse me. Right now, Turner's got to focus back in, get a little bit of lap time here, and then he'll be right back to the back bumper. Speak of the devil, here he comes back to the back bumper of Kurt.
Yeah, we're coming up on 4 laps to go here for heat race number 2 of 3 before we move on to the LCQ. But there it is, 4 laps to go. Kurt hanging in there right now. Tapley kind of faded off a little bit. I'm wondering if he maybe tapped the brakes a little bit and put a brake on that one, as he's hoping these two maybe get together and he could just sneak on by, but that did not happen because Kurt and Turner, you know, while you see them getting loose and bumping into each other, we may see it again, they have some really, really good car control here. They go side by side to the line once again to make it 3 to go.
Yeah, this is some of the closest racing that I've seen in a very long time, and some of the cleanest as well. Side by side, the 19's trying to get him up out of the groove just a little bit so he can complete the pass. This is the first time that 19's had a nose out in front, and they're going to get together to run. Oh, and into the wall.
And that
but they have enough of a gap.
That is exactly what Tapley was waiting for. As we now have 2 laps to go, he managed to get by Dylan Turner, but like you said, there was enough of a gap. He wasn't able to clear Kurt, so Kurt stays in the lead. But man, again, we said clean racing, and then they go and they just try to play bumper cars out on the track.
Yeah, just getting a little too close, trying to get a little too much out of the car, but it's still not over yet. 2 laps to go in the second heat race, and the 19 goes straight back to the bottom, trying to get past the 13 there, and it's white flag, excuse me. And it looks like Kurt's going to be able to walk away with this one.
It is indeed, and you got the real sim racer. There we go. We're calling it real sim racer. Takes the win here. Kurt in the 82, followed by Turner, Tapley, Treadwell, Barkers, DeSanto, and Billings. That's how they're going to round out, and we'll bring Ken back in here. Ken, the real life boy, got it done here in heat race number 2. So far, the real racers are showing these sim racers how it's done tonight.
Yeah, and I do have to give some props to Dylan Turner, too. He's no longer a racer. He's just a spotter now, but he's turned some actual laps up at Wiscasset, too. Spotter for one of our top pro stock and late model drivers. So a great race between those two up front. That's where all the action was. A lot of respect between those two. A lot of patience out of Turner. He really could have forced the issue earlier, but it really came down to that one mistake late in the race.
Yeah, it definitely did. And heat race 3, your final heat race of the night, is about to be underway. 8 more cars, 4 rows, so we'll jump right into it. Row 1 going to be the 37 on the inside of Nathan Barth, and on his outside is going to be Chris. Again, I think it's pronounced Fortier. We'll find out on that one. We have our own in another series, and we still ain't figured out how to say it. So we hope we get that one right. Row 2 is going to be the 58 of David Greenleaf, and the 61 of Matthew Gain. Row 3 going to be the 22 of Chris York, and the 54 of Noah Haggett. In row number 4, rounding out this field, is going to be the 59 of Matt Mingo, and the 32 of Jacob Heathcote. We'll get that one out. But only 8 cars in this one. But to remember, we've seen I believe it was 9 or 10, and 8. And we still have the top 10 from qualifying that we haven't even seen since qualifying. So a stacked field of a lot of drivers here tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing that feature race. I believe it's 125 laps, if I'm not mistaken. So while we have one lap here, Ken, you are sponsoring this race. So give us a little bit of information about Wiscasset Speedway.
Well, much like this track was 3/8 of a mile. That's a good amount of banking to it. Hands down, the fastest track in the state of Maine. Our pro stocks get around the 3/8 mile track in under 15 seconds. We've had the NEMA midgets getting around the track in 12 seconds. So really, really fast speeds at the track. If anybody gets a chance to come up and check it out, $5 admission to every single race at Wiscasset Speedway.
That is definitely a deal today in today's age when, you can get into a race and watch racing, which is way better than eggs. So for half the price of eggs these days, you can watch 2 nights of racing. I think that's a deal because, I'd rather go watch racing anyway than, eat some eggs. So there you go. Go get you some racing in for half the price of a carton of eggs these days. The green flag is out, and Barth and Greenleaf are the front 2 right now. And just like the last one, Brockton, they start out single file, but something tells me we're not going to stay that way for long.
Yeah, further in the back, there's been a little bit of action here and there, but we're going to keep it on these front 3 right now. Barth is just trying to find his pace, trying to find his line. And once again, we're seeing that top line about a lane off of the wall, right in that second seam. Just feathering the throttle, getting it down. And every heat race we have, more and more rubber gets put on the track. So this lane is going to be even faster than before. Right now, the fastest lap was set by the 11 of Chris Fortner at a 24.71. So that's a pretty quick lap for somebody in 3rd place. So, and a big move here. I think Barth might have got a little bit tight, actually, coming in the middle of that corner.
Yeah, he got a little bit tight, but he makes it work. And I heard crunching just now. I don't know if you heard that one. And indeed, there was crunching. It was the 22 of Chris York. There's the caution. Finally does come out. But I heard the crunch from all the way on the other side of the track. That was a loud thump that crunching metal number 22 made. But the car looks surprisingly in decent shape, considering the noise it made when it hit the wall.
Yeah, that right side of the car is going to be what looks a little bit worse for wear, as we can see the right front popping out a little bit, but the 22 Kiss machine, it definitely made out decent for that one. So he'll be able to continue. Shouldn't have any engine damage, so he's still got a shot at it.
Yeah, he's still definitely got a shot at this race. But Nathan Barth out front, followed by David Greenleaf and Chris Fortier are your top 3 at the moment. And while we have a moment, take a look in as we got Jeffrey Young tuning in here tonight saying, let's go, Jake. And we've doubled. We went from about 20-ish viewers to about 40 now. So, spread the word. We're looking forward to it. We're showing off the new overlays, the new quality. And, the only thing that's really holding us back, Brockton, is the internet, and that is going to be fixed here soon within the next 2 to 4 weeks, hopefully 3 or less. We will have Vex's fiber here, and we will have a gig up, and at that point, well, sky's the limit. We're just going to start throwing internet at everything and anything, and, there's no telling what we can do at that point.
Yeah, the internet is always going to be one of our greatest allies and also worst enemies at some points, but as soon as you get them big boy numbers going in those downloads and uploads, we're gonna have even better graphics, which I didn't even think was possible until we were talking about it the other day. So I'm excited for you, I'm excited for the rest of the fans, and I mean, this is gonna be a great race. We got 9 laps to go, and then an LCQ, and then the main event, I think I got that right, so it should be a good night.
Yeah, 20 laps for that LCQ, and I will point out we haven't officially announced this until now. We'll just spill the beans everywhere, as Carlos Acosta used to say, as the green flag comes about. But where you see that ticker going across the bottom, the news bar, that's actually going to be a working ticker that will always scroll no matter what. So if we hide the top bar or the sidebar, you'll always be able to see where somebody is on the track, who you're watching for. That's coming in the next couple of weeks. We're going to officially debut that with the Northwest Racing Series when they launch. It's about the time frame we're looking for. But back to racing is Barth out front, followed by Greenleaf, and Haggett has made his way up to third place. But we've seen really good battles, up towards the front. We forgot to go to Ken here, but Ken, any of these drivers in here, regular racers there for you?
Actually, a few of them. Nate Barth is a street stock Mad Bomber style racer up here in the Northeast, not at Wiscasset, but there goes David Greenleaf. I was about to call his number. Super street racer at Wiscasset. They call him Speedleaf, but not so much this time. Noah Haggett, he's back behind the wheel as well this past season.
Yeah, unfortunately, Greenleaf's car looks more like a crumpled up leaf at this point, but hey, he's still got a shot. He's not out of this thing yet. Again, we still have that LCQ, and somebody like him, we never count him out of a race because he can definitely make things happen. As he's going to try to work his way through this field here in the heat race number 3. Again, this is our final heat race of the night. Then we'll move on to the Consolation or the LCQ for 20 laps. We'll have a little bit of a warm-up, and that's our warm-up, especially for me. I know Ken and Brockton, y'all both were smart and like, well, I'm going to get some water before we start this thing. Well, I forgot to do that. I didn't realize it was going to be in the booth, so I didn't get my Gatorade out of the fridge that I typically can just get up real quick and go get it. So I'll have to get that during the break, and of course we'll thank our sponsors during that time as well, and then we'll also talk to Ken a little bit more and get his thoughts on the upcoming season again, all that good stuff that's coming in at Wiscasset Speedway. I know I've already started real racing here, but then again, I have the luxury of being able to remote produce, so it's nice and warm or cold, whatever I want in my studio, and I can just produce wherever it's nice and sunny at a racetrack. So, and we all know the story of the last week as we're about to go green. The race got delayed. Ken, I don't know, you probably haven't heard this one, but we were doing a race this past weekend at Big O Speedway in Enos, Texas, and it got delayed for about 30 minutes to an hour or so because they tipped over the water truck.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I don't know how it happened, but yeah, we got a picture of it, and it's just rolled over on the turn 1 or 2 banking. It's like above the dirt track, so it's above the cushion, and off the track really, it just rolled over. So I'm not sure what happened there, but wow. Yeah, that was an interesting delay that I've never seen before. And we're not delayed anymore. We're going racing here with 2 laps to go. Brockton, he got a good jump there for heat race number 3. That, of course, being Nathan Barth. Haggett, does he have anything for him in second place right now?
I don't think Haggett's got enough time. I think he has enough pace, but just 0.4 of a second in 2 laps is just a hard ask, especially when you've got such a consistent guy like Nathan up front. He's able to get off turns 3 and 4 clean to get the white flag, and all he's got to do is 3/8 of a mile to get that heat race win and lock himself into the main event. And I think he's going to get it half a second behind, coming to 3 and 4, and exiting turn 4. It's going to be Nathan Barth in the 37 car, going to take heat race number 3.
Yeah, Barth will take it, followed by Haggett, Gain, Mingo, Fortier, Heathcote, York, and Greenleaf. Unfortunately, did not. And again, we're going to go straight into that Consolation LCQ race for 20 laps. And these guys they are not wasting any time. That is one downside about real racing or sim racing versus real racing. And I think Ken will agree is they go so fast, you don't have time to go get a hot dog or a hamburger or the most important thing, go to the little racer's room or the little announcer's room. You don't have time to do these things.
Well, aside from announcing it Wiscasset Speedway, I am also the promoter, and the promoter is always the guy at the top of the stairs going, "Come on, let's keep the show moving. We got to keep the show moving. No breaks." So it's playing along just fine here in my promoter's book. So.
Yeah. So well, I will agree with that one as a promoter. Haven't done promoting, but I have been in the tower many times. You know, you hear the promoters on the radios coming, "Come on, guys, get the next class out. What's the holdup? Let's go." you know, you want to run that show because yeah, the attention span is not necessarily the longest. You know, people sit there, they don't want to wait, they want to get it going. So I can definitely see that side of things as well. As we're getting ready to get things going, we'll quickly go through your LCQ starting grid, as it's going to be inside and outside row 1 is going to be Gleason Smith and Brian Treadwell. Row 2 going to be Matt Mingo and Arthur Jordan. Row 3 going to be the 66 of William Barkers and the 11 of Chris Fortier. Row 4 going to be the 25 of Justin, Gallix, and the 86 of Dan DeSanto. Row 5 going to be Jacob Heathcote, and the 122 of Nick Hinckley. We'll see if we can get that one out right. Pardon me. And we'll switch this real quick. There we go. We're about to take the green. The 23 of Cody Billings and the 22 of Chris York. On at row 6, row 7 going to be Kyle Mooney in the 90, and Sean Kimball not going to be starting this race. David Greenleaf and also Travis Pullett in the 51 on row. Excuse me. And that'll do it for your starting grid.
Hey, got to give a shout out to that guy on the outside there in the number 24, Brian Treadwell. Really nice guy, races modifieds at Wiscasset Speedway, and he had to take this past season off. We're hoping he gets back on the track, but told him I'd give him a shout out tonight, and glad to see he's there on the outside of the front row.
And just like that perfect shout out there for me, because I had a coughing fit coming on, so that works out really good for me. But we are racing here for 20 laps in the LCQ, as we already got them going a little wild and crazy down. That's the 59 of Matt Mingo. And he is going to go for a wild spin as we're trying to catch up with him. And he is backwards going the wrong way on this track. And the caution will come out before we actually ever complete a lap.
Yeah, just a quick caution. It looked like a little bit of net code, which is one downside to the virtual world, is sometimes your car is not actually there when it makes contact with another car. But no harm, no foul. If anything, it helped him a little bit because now his tires are a little warm. So he'll be able to get back to the back of the pack and try and work his way up for that final transfer spot. But no damage on the car, so that's a good thing for that of the 59 of Matt Mingo.
Yeah, he'll have just a big fight on his hands, but he definitely is not out. Like you said, if you don't hit anything, that's best case scenario. Worst case, though, we are picking away laps regardless, so he's got to get to the front if he wants to get there in a hurry. And again, I'm not 100% sure. We're going to check in. I can't remember because typically I don't have to remember. But let's find out as well. Ask race control subtly in their ear how many advanced from the this race there in the LCQ. And we'll subtly thank him as well, because race control is in my ear, so we'll let him do his job. And we got the word. 3 transfer and 3 provisionals will be. So we're taking 6 more drivers, obviously the top 3, and then those 3 provisionals from the season. So we're going to be looking about 16 laps to go when we take the green. And another fantastic race from these guys. And, you know, I have to give props. They are running a clean race so far. And I told you, Ken, and I told you, Brockton, I haven't eaten dinner yet. And the rate it's going, I wouldn't get to eat till about 11. They're racing clean enough. Maybe they realize I haven't eaten dinner, so they're going to get me out of here a little early so I can actually get a bite of food before I have to record some podcasts.
That's probably exactly what their thoughts were, buddy. That's definitely what they were thinking.
I would, Ken. I probably just jinxed it, so just don't use that yellow word. as we go racing one more time. That's the flag we want to see, the green one, out here tonight with 16 laps to go. As it's going to be Gleason Smith and Chris Fortier and Brian Treadwell are going to be your top three right now. That will advance, but if you're Arthur Jordan back here, followed by Jordan Gallix, Jacob Heathcote, William Barker, those guys are like a pack of hungry wolves. They are going to fight and claw to take every position they can. And if you're in the top three, you are not safe right now.
Yeah, right now the safest position that you can be in is going to be that of Gleason Smith, who's about a quarter of a second. And oh man, I think you jinxed it, buddy. We got a car around. That's the 51.
Oh,
and right in front of him. Oh no, that's no bueno there.
Yeah, that's definitely no bueno. So Chris York around. He smashes the wall, collects Travis Folliott in the 51 while the caution is out. And, yeah, that was a strange turn of events. You know, we've heard the term caution under caution. So I'm curious, just from the asphalt side of things in the real world, Ken, how often do you see, you know, a caution happening or another incident while you're already under caution, you know, in the real world out there?
It doesn't usually happen very often, but that old adage, cautions breed cautions, that does hold true. So you're always encouraging the guys, especially when you have threatening weather, keep the show going. If you spin, get back on the track. Don't mess around. Again, cautions breed cautions, bunches the cars back up, and increases the likelihood that we're going to have more problems.
Yeah, you know, those drivers, you know, they get antsy, they're ready to go, they feel like they're being held back, and then cautions come out, then more cautions come out. So, you know, that anticipation of wanting to race, I could see where that would stand true. Speaking of caution information, we'll take a look at your VA811.com dig with care caution information here at Lucas Oil Raceway. 2 cautions for 5 laps here in the LCQ. 0 lead changes as it's been Gleason Smith out front for the entirety of this LCQ race. But we're going to be coming up on 11 to go when we take the green. So definitely be a good race. I think that 125 laps in the feature is going to be even better, though.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed here is Gleason's been taking the top side on every restart. Of course, on the initial start, he had to take that inside line, but he's getting that preferred line, the preferred launch, every caution, which if I'm behind him, I want this thing to go green so we can warm up those tires, get a little bit of wear and tear on them, and away we go. Green flag drops. That number 6 Dale Earnhardt-inspired paint scheme is what it looks like to me. It's a good launch, and that 4 of Arthur Jordan trying to chase him down, and he's got a very good line off the corner, and a car in the wall, and we got a caution once again. Cautions breed cautions.
Yeah, and that would be the other inspired paint job there. There was a 24 going around in that Jeff Gordon-inspired DuPont machine of Brian Treadwell. Got a little punt and got spun it around, and caution comes out, and we go back under that flag. And, you know, I hate to admit when I'm wrong because, you know, that rarely happens around here. But I think I have to admit Ken was right, and I think I just jinxed this race. So I will say hello to supper at 11 o'clock tonight.
Oh, it's unfortunate for sure, but maybe these guys will... Excuse me, I just knocked my water over.
Well, with a last chance qualifier, with a last chance qualifier, though, guys know this is their last chance to get in, unless they are counting on a provisional. So guys will start taking more chances that they typically wouldn't, especially since we're within 10 laps to go here.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And nobody, as great as the production value is on LSRTV, if you're sitting in one of those race cars, you don't want to watch the race while it's happening. You want to go back and watch it after the race when you got the check in your hand and the trophy. So these guys are trying everything they can to be able to watch the race replay, not the live broadcast.
Yes, yes. Yeah, they want to be in it when it comes to that 125 lap race. And to keep in mind, was the ticker's not on the screen at the moment as we're under caution. We talked about 3 making it, and then you've got your other 3 that are provisional. So that's 6 drivers out of 15. So over half this field is saying, see you later, sayonara. Wish I'd have made it to the big dance, but I ain't making it today. And that's not what you want to say, especially as we bring Ken in. When you go to real life racing, it's even worse when you're real life racing and you don't make it to the feature, because then you actually have to load a real car up, and that is not a fun trip going home.
Yeah, guys don't come to the racetrack to watch the feature from the grandstands, I can tell you that. One guy you want to keep an eye on in this one, though, he's been in the back, started deep in the field, and has quietly worked his way up. I think he's restarting 6th. That's Nick Hinckley in that 122. He's right on the outside looking in, and he's run a good, clean, patient race and has picked off a lot of spots in the early going in this one.
Yeah, he has definitely used that flex so well, and he has patched his way back up to the front. We'll see how many times I can make horrible puns about flex seal in this race tonight. But he is doing what he needs to do to get that 122 machine up to the front. And again, top 3 make it, and obviously 3 provisionals. I would imagine maybe he's in a provisional. We'll find out who those are here in just a bit. But the green flag about to come back out one more time, and we'll see. Will this be the last time we see the green flag here in the LCQ? Sorry, heat race number 3. This is LCQ racing, but they're going to go 3 wide back for about 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They're going to sort it out to 2 wide, but this racing is nowhere near done for top 3.
Yeah, right now Smith out to a commanding lead. Jordan also single file, but it's Heathcote, Forner, and Hinckley side by side, neck and neck, nose to tail, trying not to hit each other and trying to get past one another. Right now, Hinckley working that outside lane, probably the best out of our top 10, I'd say. Able to get the run in the middle and on exit. But right now, that inside lane's starting to come in, and he gets the wall just a tad. That 32 of Heathcote trying to get around too, but it's just slowing him up a little bit. And I think trying to do the Melon Man rush around the outside is Hinckley just jumping the cushion a little bit. That's not going to work for him, as he's slipping back now to 8th place and a change for the lead.
Gleason Smith finally, he lost that lead. He didn't want to lose it, I'm sure. He's still in a transfer spot, so he's still good. As Arthur Jordan's going to get by him here with 3 laps to go, but, you say 1 spot or 2 spots, you're still in the big dance, but you do not want to lose those spots, because that is just 1 or 2 spots further you're going to start up in that feature race. But he is still in it. That's the key. And we drop back to 3rd place here with Jacob Heathcote. He's got Kyle Mooney and Chris Fortier on his heels as we're coming to 2 to go. But that 3rd place in the big race, I don't think it's 100% secure with Heathcote right now.
No, Heathcote's kind of been struggling with that race car in the middle and on exit of the turns, and Mooney's been able to close that gap little by little, and I know Mooney would probably put the bumper to him if he got the chance. So we've got a caution, however, and it's going to be, I don't know who it is, on the 59.
Matt Mingo bringing out the caution, and I can't tell if his car's just black in the front. It is black, but no, I don't see a lot of damage. I couldn't tell if it was a shadow and the car was dented in, or if it was just the paint job. It is just the paint job, so it looks like just a little spin there. No harm, no foul to him. He'll regroup and try it again, as we'll just go back to the front here. Again, caution and replays will be coming in that big race here. These LCQs and heat races go so fast. We really don't get a good chance to go back and dissect them the way we want to. So we will wait for the main race. And what unfortunately we're still waiting on is Wesley. Last time he had this, it was a pretty dire emergency, so we'll give him a break. It could be something pretty important. So hopefully he does make it here for at least the feature, but if not, I got some chicken wing money coming, so I won't complain too much.
Oh dear, you guys in your your bets, I guess. I don't know what that would be.
That's just straight up. I want some chicken wings, and I'm taking his pay for this race. So, and I have an obsession with chicken wings from Buffalo Wild Wings too. So, full disclosure: if you haven't tried the Nashville Hot Wings, you've got to try. You know, I'm just waiting for some of these racetracks, and maybe Ken, maybe your track can be the first to do it. Come out with a Nashville Hot something, because it's so popular. I think you'd sell out like in 10 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. The food has got to be part of the racetrack experience. So,
It definitely
guys, I'm
does.
interested to see how this restart's going to go, because Smith has always had that preferred top lane, like you guys had mentioned, and he's always gotten the jump on the start. Jordan's been a little out to lunch on these starts. Interested to see how this one goes with just a couple to go.
Yeah, get the green-white checkered here, and the green flag is intimate any second. Intimate. There we go. Whatever. I can't speak today. Green flag is out. We are racing.
Oh, he missed the shift.
That is not what you want to do.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times to him.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up if later in the main event, but these cars have such a temperamental clutch. You got to make sure you have it all the way down to click that into your third and fourth gear, and I think that 11's getting a lot of help from the 122 back there as we get the white flag. 1 to go here. Smith out in front, Heathcote and Mooney for second and third, but Jordan trying to come back, and look at this. It's Greenleaf trying to sneak in with that last spot. He's going to have one last ditch attempt. He's going all the way to the bottom, taking it 3 wide almost. He's going to make contact with the 90, but it's going to be Smith coming home in first. The 4 of Heathcote in the 32, and then Jordan, after a very almost detrimental mistake on that final restart, brings it home third to get that final transfer spot. Mooney fourth, and Greenleaf comes home fifth. We'll get those provisionals sorted out here in the next couple of minutes, but what a last lap, and what a last couple of laps to close out that LCQ.
Yeah, what a, again, just a wild race. And before we quickly go to commercial, we're going to toss it to Ken, because Ken, you obviously sponsoring this race here with Wisconsin Speedway. So we'll give you the floor. What do you want the fans to know? When can they come out? And what's the best type of food you got there if they want to grab some grub?
Well, the easiest way to get a hold of us is WisconsinSpeedway.com. That'll give everyone the lowdown on what's going on. But just your typical good old racetrack food, burgers and chicken tenders and, hot dogs, popcorn. People are willing to come in. And like I said, $5 to get into every single race. And bring the family. We see a lot of kids at the track, which is something we're trying to cultivate, get that next generation to the racetrack. And sit down, have some good food, good company, and of course, enjoy some good racing.
Well, definitely good racing is always a plus, and that's good food. But we're glad to have you here. I believe I think you were here last year, if I recall correctly. But overall, again, it's going to be a fun, good race. 125 laps. Brockton, any final thoughts before we head to commercial break?
And we're going to see 10 drivers that we haven't seen yet on the track in race conditions, so that's going to be a whole new thing for them. They've been able to watch 4 races and see what this track has started to do, see what the racing's been like. If I've learned anything, if I'm starting on pole, I'm going to want to get to the outside as quick as I can, but it's going to be interesting to see if that top lane deteriorates, will drivers be able to run the bottom, or are they just going to be slipping and sliding all night long in that top side?
We definitely will find out here momentarily. Till then, we'll step away real quick for a quick commercial break to thank the sponsors, and we will be right back.
Your CRN, my CRN, our CRN. We are CRN. The Community Radio Network now and the new WCRN 87.9 FM. And still always anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
Here comes A-Bear on the bottom 3 wide out.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are just a few moments away from taking that green flag one more time for the 125 lap A Maine here tonight. And Brockton, I have a feeling it's gonna go by fairly quickly here for that A Maine. Again, it's been going by fast so far. We're not hitting any time limits, nowhere close to them. And I think we're going to continue that trend, without jinxing this any further than I already did into this feature race.
Yeah, I need you to find a piece of wood and start knocking on it, because these guys are going to have about 20 more cars than they're normally used to running against and a lot more laps. So we've got to get into a rhythm and start running some good lap times around here, and then we can start talking about getting out of here on a good time. But it's all going to be about patience, consistency, and knowing where your front end and rear end is.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and we'll bring Ken in here in just a moment as we get through this grid. As again, we know so many are having to make it, so we have a few extras that are listed, but they will not be starting. So it looks like 25, 26 going to be it. So we'll go ahead and give them a moment to get sorted out. While they do that, we'll go to Ken. Ken, we got a stacked field here with real drivers, sim racers. It's going to be a good race. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where, before the main event, we're having our drivers meeting. We're telling the guys, listen, it's 125 laps. You can't win this thing on the first lap. Like Brockton said, you got to be patient. Show patience, show respect, get in a good groove, race hard, but race clean. Get your car there to the end. You got to be there to the end to get a chance to win it. So this is where managing your car, managing your tires, managing your patience will all play into this one.
It definitely will, and we'll go ahead and cue up that wonderful grid music. And again, some of these drivers are going to be listed in the grid. They are not actually starting in this race, but we'll go ahead and run through your starting grid anyway the best we can. Is row 1 going to be Cody Merrill in the 1, and Tyler Conley in the 31. Row 2 going to be, we'll turn that down just a hair. There we go. There we go. Row 2 going to be PJ Merrill. Again, sorry I'm having to pull double duty here tonight, so the music was a little loud. Row 2 going to be 29 of Tyler Jordan as well. Row 3 going to be Cody Bubar and Brian Conover. And row 4 going to be Nick Dyer in the 88 and Logan Melcher in the 41. And row 5, rounding out your people that made it from qualifying, is the 38 of Matthew Burgoyne. We haven't heard from him in a while because he qualified in. And the 94 of Cody Childs, followed by Caleb Willett, Dominic Kirk in the row 6. Row 7 going to be Nathan Barth and Andrew McLaughlin. Row 8 going to be Dylan Turner and Noah Haggett. Row 9 going to be Ed Conley and Scott Tapley. Row 10 going to be Matthew Gain and Gleason Smith, and Gain not actually starting the race. So we're talking about, we do, however, have Heathcote, Jordan, Mooney, Greenleaf, Fortier, Treadwell, and Mingo that are going to be starting. Those are a little scattered through, so we didn't go through the grid for those guys. But that is just because of the fact that, they were transfers, so they weren't directly below there, but 26 drivers starting regardless, as we'll pull the full ticker up here tonight. Burgoyne starting, showing him in 26th position. So interesting enough, I figured he qualified in, but he's starting towards the back here. Interesting call there in that 38 machine.
Yeah, he's maybe made a strategy call trying to take his time throughout the night, or it could have been something from a previous race, a penalty or something like that. But we are underway here. Looking at the 38 all the way back down in the 25th position. Currently the last car on the lead lap. But battle for the lead right now. Connolly, that is Tyler Connolly, gets in front of the number 1 of Cody Verrill.
There you go.
Side by side.
Oh, yeah, they are side by side, and you know, one of the new things, we finally get to use it here on the channel, and that is those grayed out. That is 21st through 26. They're not out of the race; they're just grayed out a little bit, unless you go to Treadwell, who is actually out of the race. That just signifies your top 20. They're brighter, they're wider, so you know who the top 20 are easier without having to look too close. But Conley out there is your leader, doing a real good job over right now Verrill. So good battles going on throughout this race, and they're getting a little sideways, a little further back, as we'll dip deep in this field, and you can see these guys going 2 and 3 wide, about mid-pack for 14th and 15th.
Yeah, this is where some of these guys that transferred in through the LCQ and Heat 3 are mired back in this middle to back of the pack. They have the most laps on this track, so they know what the characteristics are of the car, of the tires, of the track, everything around them. So they're going to be able to be a little more aggressive, and they have to be a little more aggressive through this kind of middle or beginning portion of the race, because they've got to get up to the front. And as I say that, the 88 and the 4 go door to door, almost wrecking a huge save by those guys. But further back, the 54 of Haggett gets pushed up the racetrack. The 111 and the 32 side by side, in the 111, huge impact.
Yeah, caution.
And that's going to be
out for that one.
Yeah, first caution of the night, the 111. That's a little bit unfortunate, but a long race. But beating and banging early here tonight at Lucas Oil Raceway.
It is indeed, and we'll take a look at the replay here and see what exactly happened between the 58, the 11, and potentially the 6, as they were already beating and banging in front of them. So, yeah, just a little contact there. It's actually between the 54 and the 111, and, well, there we correct, 32 and the 111. As that's officially what brought it out, but Brockton, there was contact between about 6 different drivers. It just culminated to about 2 that ended up officially bringing out the caution.
Yeah, it's such a tight track when you get into one person and the whole chain reaction goes, and he tried to stay off the 54, put the 54 in the wall, then the 32 thought he was going to have a little more of a run and got in the side of him, so, and beating and banging and all of that kinds of stuff happens. So good to see only a couple drivers got some damage out of that, and everybody else kind of kept it rolling. So hopefully all of those guys will be able to continue on with the race and hopefully finish it up.
Yeah, they definitely will. And while we have a break in the action, we always like to talk to him. We're going to go ahead and bring Ken back in. Ken, 125 laps, what do you got for these drivers if they're, happen to be listening to the broadcast? What do you tell them here? Calm down as the promoter of a racetrack.
Yeah, that's kind of what you're telling them right there, but it's hard to get that across to a driver, especially when those mid-pack drivers that are starting to see the leader get a little smaller in their windshield, a little further ahead. They end up getting about a half a track behind, and that's when they start to kind of force the issue, and you see things happen like just did between those 3 or 4 different drivers. But you're in the radio telling them, calm down, boys. Get back in the groove.
One thing as we're about to go green is, I've been around racing enough to know you're talking in the receiver. As a promoter, in their ear telling them to do stuff, are you ever happy that it's a one-way radio and not a two-way radio?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the good part too is that everybody, if you got to tell one driver to knock it off, all the rest of the guys can hear it too. So they're happy that you're addressing it.
Yes, definitely are. And we got one going around. That's a 37, I believe, of Barth. And we'll take a look. And indeed, it is the 37 of Barth. And we didn't even get that lap completed before we go back under the caution one more time. So we'll check in with Nathan Barth and see exactly what happened here as we go to the replay. And this happened right off the start, Brockton, as potential maybe wheel spin going on.
Yeah, I think that's going to be more towards, I think that's a Budweiser on Budweiser violence there. I think the 4 is just going to get to the rear quarter panel, and yep, just a little bit of Budweiser on Budweiser violence, and an amazing dive by the entire field to not get involved with that. 37, just a little bit of tire degradation on that, and he's back out and away. So overall, not terrible.
So my question for you, Brockton, is if, we saw the one Budweiser car get to the rear end of the other Budweiser car and kind of got his rear end lifted up, got him a little light. So does that make that other car now a Bud Light instead of a Budweiser car?
Well, I guess technically, yeah, the Bud got a little light. I guess you could say that.
I can promise you this. I'm sure Ken's Track sells some adult beverages like Budweiser, and that one I would not want to drink. That one's probably going to be a little shook up now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A little extra foam out of that one. That 4 car has been really good throughout the little trouble on the starts all the time, but he has really good exit speed, and he was just, in the gas much earlier than the 37 was, and it's pretty easy to see that one happening.
It definitely was, and we're just about set here. We're on lap 14 of 125, getting set to take that green flag one more time. We'll switch this up. There we go. Now we see 112 laps to go here for the feature race for the Maine Sim Racing Series here at Lucas Oil Raceway, sponsored by Wiscasset Speedway. And what a race it's been so far. Time limit, 57 minutes, so we're nowhere near the time limit. Let's go racing one more time. And it is going to be Conley out front, followed by Jordan, Bubar, Verl, and Melcher are your top 5. Brockton, you got any idea who's your prediction who's going to win this race tonight?
Man, I've been around the broadcasting booth long enough to keep my mouth shut until 10 to go. So if I were to pick somebody, I wouldn't be picking anybody right now because everybody's within a couple tenths of a second on lap time. We've seen wrecks in the front, back, in the middle, so anything could happen tonight. But that 00 or 31 on your ticker of Tyler Conley has been very strong. Put it on second, on the first row, excuse me. So he's been very consistent throughout the night, so he'd be a decent person to put some bets on.
Yeah, he definitely be someone I'd put some bets on. And they're going to go further back in this field. As you see, you got the 41. And, I have to say I'm a Monster Jam fan, and that looks awfully a lot like a Gravedigger paint job going on that 41 machine as he's battling alongside the 97 of Brian Conover. That is Logan Melcher and Brian Conover. Dominic Kirk, we talked about him earlier on in the heat races in that 82. He is sitting pretty in 7th place right now, but as we bring Ken in, I say he's sitting pretty in 7th because we have 108 laps to go. But as a driver, no driver wants to be sitting in 8th place. They want to get out front, and they want to stay out front the entire race.
Yeah, but as we said at the beginning, you got to manage the whole race. I know Dominic would like to be up front, going at the lead with these guys. Yeah, I see one going aside right there, but as long as he can keep the leaders within sight, I think he'll be all right.
And speaking of not in sight, that is the 41 of Melcher. We were just talking about him again. An announcer's curse, possibly, as he's going to go for a little spin. And I heard some metal crunching, so we're going to go back and take a look and see what potentially happened there as the replay coming to you. And again, you're watching the 97, the 41, all in this area to see exactly what happened. And we went a little further back because I heard some extra crunching going on And unfortunately, it wasn't monster truck racing. So we'll see exactly what happened here between those two. I think is going to be Brockton what the cause may be. It could be someone different.
Yeah, the 41's going to be sitting pretty, and we're a lap to it here. So it's going to be coming off of turn 4. I believe the 41 and the 97 are going to get together. Already running very close together. Gets a little loose and a little tight, and that's never a good thing when you got a tight car on the bottom and a loose car on the top. As we're going to see the 97, held his line, so the 41 came up just a little bit, spun it around, and everybody got past them. And got it turned back around, so I think overall, all of these wrecks up till this point have been fairly mundane, if you could.
Yeah, they really have.
Which is good for them and good for us too, because we're not having cars flipping and smashing and bashing together. So more cars the merrier, and hopefully he'll be able to fight his way back up the field.
Yeah, we are coming up about 103 laps ago when we go back to racing here, and not bad. We keep a timer of just how long we've been racing, and we've been racing for an hour and 26 minutes, so not bad. We've completed, of course, practice, 3 heat races, an LCQ, and we're 22 laps in of a 125-lap race. So they, all things considered, are putting a really good pace on here for this race, and I'm not sure what is on the side of that 12 car. I think that's some really big duct tape.
Yeah, I think
if it's a street stalker, it's got to be.
Yeah, he's emulating a raced version, diecast, as some of the people would call it. Got some duct tape tire marks, rubber buildup already on there. He's emulating the true short track spirit. And it's running like a dream for sure.
Yeah, and I want to say this. I'm not plugging School of Racing Graphics, but I'm sure anyone in the real racing world knows who they are anyway. But I was on their website because I use their graphics for other things too. And I actually saw this because you brought it up, Brockton. They actually have a graphics package now on there that has dirt and grime and tire marks, little donuts, and it literally says works with iRacing for your paint jobs. So you can actually paint your car or graphic your cars. We're going to go.
Oh, this is going to be a big one here. Right in the middle of the pack. Oh, big hits, and they're wrecking all the way back in the back of the pack. That was a big one.
That was a huge one, and we're going to go take a look around the 90 machine of Mooney. He wasn't the original cause of it, but we do want to take a look because he was involved in it pretty heavily. As we'll take a look here at the caution replay, or the replay of the caution. And again, the 90 wasn't directly involved in this caution originally, but he did get a big chunk of it. So we'll take a different camera angle, and you'll see the cautions fixing to happen right up here. And just nowhere to go for these guys. Right there, just bam, just into the car, into the wall almost. And there he tags the wall. And you can see you got the 13 back there as well of Scott Tapley, the 6 involved. So, when you're talking about a little track like this, do we say maybe that's the big one here at something like Lucas Oil where, 8 to 12 cars are involved in it?
Yeah, that's typical with a track this size, and tight racing too. One car gets turned around, happened to be the one of Verrill that got turned around, and that just is a roadblock, a rolling roadblock right there in the middle of the track. A lot of guys just would know where to go.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, Brockton. I think I still may have jinxed this race a little bit, but hopefully, not too terribly bad. While we're under caution again, I want to point out, I want to shout out to Wesley. He's not here, so, hopefully everything is good. Not like Wesley to miss a race. So if he does, like I said, we want to send our thoughts and prayers, maybe premature, but still, we don't know what's going on. It could be something pretty drastic. So hopefully everything is good on his end. But the 00 out front, Tyler Conley right now, followed by Cody Poobar. Tyler, Jordan out there, your top three. You know, I'm going to say we're going to go for an underdog. I'm calling the 82 of Dominic Kirk to be your race winner here tonight in fourth place. I think he's got what it takes to get this win tonight.
Well, he's done a good job keeping that car alive and surviving, and he's going to be on the outside for this restart, so he's got the opportunity to get up there into the top three easily on the restart. But these guys have such a long race ahead of them. We're still got about 90-ish laps to go, so they've got to start calming down a little bit, driving some laps. If I'm a spotter, I'm in their ear going, calm down. As you can see, Race Control made this the call to do a single file restarts, try and clean up the race. And green flag's going to be coming out here. Hopefully we'll be able to get some laps ticked off.
Yeah, I think we definitely will be able to get some. And when put your sticker back on the screen here for lap number 29. Now we're working of 125. We currently have 97 laps to go, 49 minutes left. We're not in danger yet, Brockton, but that the clock just keeps ticking down. So they don't want to see too many more cautions. They do, we may run into that time limit. But we're going to get back a little further here. You got side-by-side action going for Brian Conover, Dylan Turner battling side-by-side. And, you know, always good battling. Not the typical car we see here with this series, but still some really, really good racing for them.
Yeah, these guys have been able to put on a good show with street stock, and I'm excited to see if this 19 can get up to the 82. I think there might be a little bit of unfinished business from their heat race, so hopefully that 19 of Turner can get up there and kind of make it a little more exciting for that top 4 or 5 position. But right now, everybody holding a pretty line, getting some laps ticked off as we're going as close to the action as you can get. Seeing these cars slipping and sliding, they are flying around this track.
Yeah, they are flying, and, you know, big shout out to Will Duvall over at Outlaw Cams for the cameras provided as always. Loving the static cameras, and you can see them right there. They are just going right up to that wall as close as they possibly can. And we love to see it, and why not? Let's go with Dylan Turner. Let's go on board with him while we can. That was a close one. As again, we're on board with Dylan Turner, currently in 9th position, the number 19 machine, and look ahead of him. Is that rookie stripe? No, it's C-Class, I see. I thought saw red there for a minute, but we have a couple of C-Class drivers in here. Speaking of not C-Class, he is a C-Class. Your new leader is a C-Class in Corey Bubar. Tyler Conley right behind him in the 31.
Well, one thing I've learned in my 5 years of iRacing is never underestimate a lower class driver than you, because they have seen just as much as you have and just as many times as you have. They're all very, very skilled drivers, except for maybe some of the rookies, but we'll let them get their legs and learn how to drive a little bit. But as you can see, Bubar is actually running away with it right now as Conley and Jordan side by side, a little bit of contact off it too.
Yeah, we got the Budweiser back on the hunt as he is looking for his next patron to take a sip of that adult beverage in the front bumper. But we'll see. Hopefully no more too much beating and banging. But hey, as we bring Ken back in, we talk about beating and banging. You know, a lot of people don't want to see torn up cars, but beating and banging, that's short track racing.
Oh, especially with street stock, strictly street wildcat style racing. If there's not a tire mark on that car, you haven't been using it to its full potential. So it's nice to see these guys racing hard, but like you said, the action is really good. With the higher track temperatures, they're kind of slipping and sliding around. I think the key to this race is the guys who can get the traction back on exit of the corner and get the car some good momentum down the straightaways. So one guy that's done that really well is that 4 car of Jordan.
Yeah, he definitely has. And, you know, just again, we talk about the good racing. We go throughout this field. They're bumper to bumper. Someone that we usually talk about a lot higher in the field, That is Matthew Burgoyne, and he's mired back in this field. He did start dead last. I'm not sure if it's because he won last week and he went to the back. I don't recall last week. I'd have to go watch the broadcast. Or if it is just some kind of penalty, but he is working his way through this field right now in 9th position, so he really has a good shot at getting that car up to the lead anytime.
He'll be up there when the money's on the table.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Brockton, still no call on your pick for the win here tonight?
Not yet, because the pick that I would have picked is now in 4th, so I'm still holding steady at it's anybody's race and anybody's race to lose, really. They've just got to keep it clean and keep it steady, and I think we had a couple guys on pit road, but they have been on pit road for quite a while now, so nothing really to report for that. But I did want to say a couple facts about this car. They're running on Hoosier Comanche street tread bias-ply tires here. So these tires are not like our Goodyear Eagles that we're used to seeing on the trucks and Cup Series of the Northwest Racing Series. These things are slipping and sliding. They're 3,400 pounds, so they're heavy. The four-speed transmission, that Chevy small block in the front end of it's only pushing out 375 horsepower, so they are a handful to drive, and they're definitely making these drivers work for everything they can get.
They definitely are. We're going back and forth. It's about 6th, 7th, 8th, 12th, 13th, 14th, putting on a good battle, and looks like we're going to have one going for a little bit of a ride, and that's going to be Arthur Jordan. So we'll catch up with him in that number 4 machine. And I spoke too soon. I talked about the Budweiser car, and then he gets into trouble. So I do apologize to the 4. Is probably jinxed that one a little bit as well. So we'll go back and take a look and see what happened here in the replay. But I kind of blame myself here, Brockton.
Yeah, we're going to see it. And whoa, hey, there's a car in the middle of the track there. 4 gets shaken, not stirred, unfortunately, but very lucky to get out of the way of the 37, or was that the 39?
I think it's
it was the 59 of Mingo.
Matt Mingo. And you talk about coming as close as you can. And it could have been a lot worse. Obviously, real versus sim would have been a lot worse for sure. But as we bring Ken back here, Ken, you saw that he was probably a half inch away from hitting that wall. When you're doing races, calling races, and being the promoter at Wiscasset Speedway, and you see a car about to hit the wall, you kind of fear it because, 1, it's dangerous. 2, it takes a lot more to clean up a racetrack after a car hits the wall and parts go flying everywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that play in your mind when something like that happens. Obviously, the first thing, you want to make sure your drivers are safe, make sure they have all the right safety gear. But then, again, managing the show, you want to make sure your crew is ready to go. You want to make sure the downtime is as short as possible. I always use the word efficiency. We want to make sure our cleanups are efficient and fans can get back to racing. But, it all comes down to making sure your drivers are safe.
Yeah, definitely, driver safety number 1. Here on the sim world, I used to say, you don't got to worry. Yeah, I used to be like, you can't really get hurt. But one of my good friends, Chuck Kemper, when we ran our own league, he actually got to the point where he had to stop sim racing, or he would have to have hand surgery for the reason that, these steering wheels have forced feedback, and they'll jerk that wheel when you wreck and stuff. So it's quite dangerous with the steering wheel, even in the sim world. So he had to get out, of course, but not quite as dangerous, not like the real world, but still, you can get injured doing this. Hopefully you don't. But we're back to green racing as Boobar out front. We'll take a look real quick at your Top 5 presented by the Press Box Motorsport Podcast on Sundays here on the channel at 4 p.m. Eastern. It is Boobar, Jordan, Connolly, Current, and McLaughlin are your top 5. And are we really surprised of any of those being in the top 5? All of them really good drivers.
Yeah, they're all very, very quick drivers. I think maybe the order of which they're set in the top 5 might surprise a couple people, as we got another caution, unfortunately. I'm not quite sure who it is yet.
Looking potentially, possibly the 54.
And that's Noah Haggett in the 54 Rowdy Energy.
Take a look, and yeah, I do believe indeed it was the 54s. The caution, like you said, is out. And here is your replay, and there was crunching well before he got involved. I heard it right there.
Just watch out.
Just gets to the back bumper of the 1. And Rowdy went. That is Cody Verrill, who he just tagged him and just spun him around.
Yeah, just sent her a little too hard there. Not enough breathing room to send it that far. Unfortunate for that number 1 car. He's already a few laps down, so kind of just insult to injury at that point.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? We just you just mentioned you could just send it. Well, he sent it, sent it right into the back bumper of the 1. So, you know, that is something you can do. Obviously, there may or may not be a penalty. He'll probably go through the back with an EOL, but you know, some of these drivers, and I'm sure you deal with it in the real life too, where you know you're over the radio, you just dump the guy, you go into the back, you go into the rear, and they don't want to go.
Yeah, they start playing the who me thing, and you know, sometimes it's a little bit of a struggle, but you know, they come to their senses after a little while. And again, you sometimes have to just tell them, calm down, you know, race your race, no extra stuff.
Well, you definitely have to, you know, they got to have that short memory so they can forget. Oh, you know, that happened, and you know, what are you talking about? I didn't wreck that guy. I never touched him. You know, his paint's on the side of your car. You touched him. You just don't want to admit it. But
so why is his bumper cover in your grill?
Yes, yeah. So some good conversations. While they be one-sided, they're always entertaining. And speaking of entertaining, the green flag is back out one more time. And right now it is Bubar out front in that number 12. And you can see the tire marks on that car. It's been rubbed on quite a bit on the left-hand side, as he still is the leader. And Brockton, quite the jump for him. He's already almost 4/10 ahead of second place in Jordan in that 29.
Yeah, that's what these single-file restarts will get you. A long, stretched-out field that will eventually kind of slinky back together over time, and that's what you want as a driver, to get a good launch, to be able to get and have that separation from the field like Bubar's been able to do. Unfortunately, his pace is just a little bit slower than that of Taylor Jordan's in that 29 car, and he's slowly been able to get back to the rear bumper of Bubar, and he's looking to the inside. He's going to have a fender, maybe more, a whole door in the inside of him, and they're going to be side by side coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, and I want to point out here as we're watching this battle, it's been quite a while since I've seen a highlight yellow car, but I'm really digging the paint job on that 29 machine. As he's going to go into the inside still, try to battle side by side, and they are going to stay side by side for quite some time. And I want to switch it up here real quick. Let's take a look at their last laps. We're going to compare those two, Bubar and Jordan, as Jordan gets by him as Bubar sending sparks off the outside wall. 24, well, we'll see it again when they cross the line. 24.649 to a 24.648. So Connolly 0.001 second faster than Jordan on that last lap.
Yeah, and Jordan was also running that inside lane, so we'll be able to see a little better who actually has the pace here. Connolly and Jordan running about the same pace as we get a caution. Last time by, Jordan was about half a hundredth faster, so that they're very, very close on speed.
They are indeed, and I believe we're looking at Noah Haggett potentially for this caution, and indeed we are. We'll take a look at it here on the replays. It's happening quickly here. Again, Noah Haggett involved in this one, and he takes it right to the pits, involved with the 59 of Matt Mingo, and those two just beating the doors off of each other and the wall, and they smash each other into it.
That's a not clear moment if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, definitely not clear. And you know, anyways, we bring Ken back because we want to talk to him as much as we can. And you know, how many times you think you see that not clear move there in the real world?
Sometimes more than you'd like on a given night. That's one of those deals where, buddy, hey, it's just not your night. It might be time to park it. Maybe a little extra stuff going on there, but yeah, it's some guys just, when it's not your night, it's not your night.
Definitely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Excuse me. Again, I didn't get my water before this race, but...
Get that man a Gatorade.
Yeah, we need to get See, the cool thing about the studio is I have a mini fridge. It's like 2 feet away. It's just on the other side of the desk, and I can't get over there to it. But we love having the new studio with the mini fridge. We actually have a microwave in here, so it's kind of a full-on kitchen studio at the same time. So we're super stoked with it. But Brockton, I may have to hand it to you for a second while I get a drink, but we'll wait till we see how this one goes. But 59 laps in of 125. We have 66 laps to go, just about at the halfway point, about 3 laps to go to that point. And, you know, as always, the Maine Sim Racing Series putting on one heck of a show for all the fans out there watching.
Yeah, these guys have been running very, very well. There's a couple of incidents here and there, but overall, we're 60 of 125 laps, so we're clicking off laps very nicely. As we're going to go green here, we've got Tyler Jordan and Tyler Connolly. The Tyler and Tyler show, they were very close on speed throughout the race, and green flag is out. The 29 gets a very good jump, about a car length and a half separates the top two. It's going to be Jordan, Connolly, Bubar, and Kurt. That's your top 4, and then it's going to be McLaughlin in that 5th position. Haven't heard McLaughlin in a while. He's kind of sat in the back. He's plus 9 positions on the night. But right now we're going to focus on that 29 of Tyler Jordan, followed by Tyler Connolly. They're running nose to tail. Last time by, about a 10th separated them on lap time. Bubar just trying to find a little bit of speed. I think his tires might be giving up on him just a little bit. As right now, Jordan has been able to keep that line about quarter of a lane off the wall on entry and able to just kind of sling it around that second seam. A very solid run right now from that 29, and he's slowly extending that lead.
He is, and we'll take a look here. Pit stops. Well, as we kind of figured, 0 across the boards until you get down to people that have been involved in wrecks, and these guys probably will run these tires all the way to the end here, because, you know, I did the math on street stocks, and if it's a full tank of fuel, I'm not sure if they run full or limited fuel here, as we've never really brought it up, and I've never asked, but these cars can do upwards of like 300 laps, I believe. 250, 300 laps on a tank of fuel. And the only reason I know that is because we plan on doing this year the virtual Lone Star 500, which is 250 laps each night for 1,000 to win each night. So I know they can do 250 laps of fuel. So they're not going to be pitting for fuel if they have that full tank here tonight. And I would imagine that 65 laps in, Brockton, that's probably the case.
Yeah, and mathematically speaking, these cars take such a long time to change all 4 tires and fuel at full. They'd go multiple laps down, even under caution, if they had to pit. So I would doubt anybody would come down for maybe 2 tires or 4. It just strategically isn't going to work. You got to run what you have, make it to the end, and hope you don't burn your stuff up too soon. Yeah,
and speaking of not burning his stuff up, I mentioned him, Matthew Burgoyne. He was in 9th. Now he's in 5th. Again, he started 25th. He is now up to 5th place. He is methodically working his way through this field, picking people off one at a time. And I think we're going to see him. I believe he's a real racer in real life. Pretty confident in that. I'm not sure if he has raced it. So, Ken, he does race at your track as well?
Yeah, he races late models at our track, and actually was a very successful legend car racer before that. And that just shows the patience we were talking about at the beginning of the race. Save your stuff till it's time to get up on the wheel, and now he's doing it. You see him starting to pick off these guys who have used up their stuff. He just passed 2 guys in one corner, so here he is when it's money time.
Yeah, and if he can win this race, he may have been a good Legends driver, but he may be a legend at this race as well. As he like you said, he's taking his time. He's making his tires last, and he's always been good at it on here, and obviously probably good at it in real life too. And he is picking them off one at a time. Can I recant my statement and pick him as my winner, Brockton?
I never knew you picked anybody as a winner yet, buddy.
Well, good. We'll just erase that part. When it comes to that part in the broadcast, we'll just bleep it out. We won't mention that I picked Dominic Currett to win the race.
Although that's right. You picked the underdog.
Yeah, he's still in 6th place. I'm still not counting him out, but, I really think Matthew Burgoyne has a good shot at this. He's just been, like I said, methodically driving this track, slowly but surely getting by people, and we have now 55 laps to go, 71 completed when we cross the line, and he's in 3rd place. That's at least a podium, so we at least get to talk to him nevertheless.
Yeah, and that last time by, he was 2/10 quicker than Tyler Connolly, and an entire 10th faster than the leader, so he is the fastest car on track, I believe. So he's definitely been able to save his tires, save his stuff, and now he's putting that pressure on these guys that have been running hard all night long or have a little bit of damage. So he's able to put the car where he needs it and when he needs it. And it's showing as he's already on the back bumper of Connolly. He's going to the inside for that move, and he's so close. Not quite going to get it this time, but the more laps that he's behind this 00, the more he's going to be able to see where he's weak, and he sees it on corner exit, and they're side by side through 1 and 2.
They are duking it out right now, and awesome to see this battling going on. As he's going to try to get to the bottom inside one more time, and I think he may make the pass this time. He's at least ahead of him. I see smoke on the track, but no caution coming out at the moment, so that could be someone down on pit road, and unfortunately, somebody may be down there barbecuing, and we don't get none of it, but he does make the pass. We're going to 2nd place. Now the question is, he's got 50 laps to go when they cross the line. Does he have enough time to get by there, and has he used up his tires enough to level the playing field coming through this field?
Yeah, that smoke on pit road is the number 90 car of Kyle Mooney. I don't know if he's barbecuing, and if he is, he's doing it out of the front bumper of his race car, which is not a good spot to barbecue. Back to Matthew, though. Matthew still is about 1/10 of a second a lap faster than the leader, so it's 6/10. 10th a lap should take about 6 laps to get to him, but getting to him is one thing, and I know passing somebody is a completely different one.
It definitely is, and I want to bring Ken back here. We talk about passing and all this, how the tracks work and stuff. And, I've never got to go to Wisconsin Speedway, unfortunately, because I'm all the way in Texas. That's a long haul for me to get there. But I'm just curious, how is the passing there? Obviously, you always want a track to be multi-groove, and I'm sure it definitely is. But, do these guys go 3-4 wide? What's usually the typical one out there?
The fast groove at Wisconsin is right at the bottom. With the banking, these guys can really hustle it around the track. There's a good second groove, but you gotta be noticeably faster to be able to run up there. Some guys can make it work, others can't. You might be pushing it to go 3 wide at our track, but there's some places where it gets pretty tight on especially on exit of turn 2. 3 wide's asking for a little much, but You got guys like Matt Burgoyne here. I was going to mention smart racers like him. What they'll do is they'll kind of stay right there in the rearview mirror and start to pressure these drivers. And the driver, the leader, he'll start looking in that rearview mirror. He might start over driving his car a little bit, and that's where a smart driver like Matt will jump in and take advantage of that.
Yeah, you definitely can, and I've seen it used here in the sim world, and it definitely is in the real world. You don't always have to be faster than them, but if you can play those mental games with them, you're sitting there. You always see it in like Talladega Nights and stuff, where he's sitting there waving at him like, "Here I coming for you, Ricky and Bubba," But you don't literally wave at the driver, but you can get in their rear view mirror, get right to their back bumper, and do like Dale Earnhardt. You say. You can intimidate them. You make them make a mistake, and that really does work.
Make them overdrive their car.
Brockton, we may have to deploy this, intimidation factor in the next 24-hour race for you.
Yeah, the good thing about it is a caution comes out. Unfortunately, that was a good little battle there, starting to heat up. And big contact for the 13 on the inside wall. It looks like a long, lazy spin there, as you can see the tire tracks through the grass. The intimidation button for those 24-hour races is your headlight flash button. And I tell you one thing, for the 24 hours of Daytona, I was on that thing more than I thought I'd ever be, so definitely need that intimidation factor, I think, next time. But we're going to look at the 13 here. Just coming off of turn 4, and hey, that's the 82, and
Tom Currett
just overcorrected on the brakes. There you go. Oh, keep it on the brakes. There you go.
Well, we're going to pretend that I did not pick the 82 and, announcer drinks him. Put the announcer's curse on him for that one. But, yeah, man, it was the 82 obviously getting a little sideways there. Collects the 13, not by contact, but just by trying to avoid it. And that, of course, will bring out the caution. And speaking of caution, we'll take a look at your VA811.com Dig with Care caution information here at Lucas Oil Raceway. 8 cautions for 26 laps, 3 different lead changes. I don't know where changers came from, but 26 laps of caution, roughly 25, so about not much. I'm not going to do that math, but not a lot. We've completed 83, so still not a whole lot. 42 laps to go, 41 to get to the line. Not a big chunk of this race. We've had some green flag racing, which is always good to see.
Yeah, these guys have been able to do some very good racing. We've raced, I think, I'm not going to do the math yet either because I don't want to get called out for it. But yeah, we've had a very good race so far. Some good battles for the lead, a couple lead changes, a couple wrecks, everything that a person sitting in the grandstands would want to see, and hopefully we can get back going green. Lights on the pace car will probably be going off here this time by, but I'm excited to see these guys get back going again because Tyler Jordan, the lap the caution came out was a 1/10.5 slower than Matthew in that 38 car was. So these guys have been going back and forth, and I think they're definitely gonna. This battle's not over. In short, this battle's definitely not over.
It's definitely not, and I want to point out here too, real quick, just looking over the race information. We have 40 laps to go. Going to be 39 at the line when they cross it. 38 to go when we take the green. We have 21 minutes left to go. We're still not in danger of that time limit, but a few more cautions and we could potentially be in it. And I know a lot of the racing I do, they put time limits on. I'm not sure do they have limits at Wisconsin? Do y'all put those time limits on them, or do you just let them race it out?
When we have an enduro, sometimes we'll do 100 laps or 1 hour, whichever comes first. Sometimes if a division's getting out of hand and they've gone to an excessive amount of cautions, and it's time to get their attention, we'll, rather than put a time limit on them, we'll just tell them, okay, boys, next flag ends the race. You guys get to decide which one it's going to be.
Well, and I've seen that happen as well. It happened this past weekend. They were getting a little out of control, so they told them, all right, we're dropping the green. It's a green-white checkered. You're going to the end, boys. So I have seen that as well, but we are getting ready to take that green here to start lap number 88. And again, it's been some really good racing, a few cautions, and a couple of drivers are out of this race, but still majority of the field on the track at the moment. And here comes Burgoyne. He is not done by any means. He's trying to run down Tyler Jordan in that 29. Brockton, I think that caution may have helped him. I think he's got this one wrapped up if he can get by him.
Yeah, Burgoyne got that couple of laps to refocus and get his game plan back together. Jordan also had that same amount of time, but his tires are noticeably slower as Burgoyne goes down to the bottom. It's side by side coming off of turn 2 for the battle of the lead, the 29 and the 38. 38 on the bottom, Burgoyne trying to send it. He's been able to spike the brakes and get that car turned down to the bottom to get a good run off. The 29 of Jordan getting a little sideways, but able to pull. It's about a half a car length in between the top two. And behind them, it's the 00 of Merle trying to wait for him to make that mistake. Merle's had a tough race so far in the wall a couple times, but side by side still for the lead.
Yeah, these guys are just not giving up. They are not done by any means. So it's really going to come down to those final laps, I think, especially for the lead. We'll see. You know, Merrill's back in there. You just mentioned it in that 00 with that RKM-sponsored machine, Ryan Kuhn Motorsports. Obviously, a nice-looking ride as well. And it has turned in from a one-car to a three-car battle for the race lead as we come to complete lap 91.
And Burgoyne got very loose off of turn 4, and that's going to give the 00 the opportunity on the outside. He hops the proverbial cushion, and now that three-car race goes back down to single file. Jordan now in the clear, and Burgoyne has to get past two cars as he sits in at third with pressure from Tyler Connolly in fourth.
Yeah, the pressure, you know, we talked about that building up over and over, and you know, you can really wear someone down, and it's surprising to see Burgoyne falling back a position there as PJ Merrill is on the move right now. And take a little further back, you know, I'm wondering here as we have 33 laps to go, make it 32, did a switch just get flipped? With that caution, everybody's getting in there, and you know, they're beating and banging and just going to town a little more than they were. So I think maybe they realized, hey, we got 30 laps to go. We better move.
Well, I'm looking at our timing and scoring that we have, and it looks like about 15, or actually it looks more like 7 or 8 guys went down pit road on lap 83, and then they might have taken some tires. So a little bit of a strategy call that I didn't see coming. And I think that might have been the flip switch that we were talking about, as McLaughlin going side by side with Connell. And here comes the Budweiser number 4 of Jordan.
Yeah, PJ's in the lead.
But up front, yeah, PJ got the pass done, and now Tyler Jordan is going back to battle with Matthew Burgoyne.
Yeah, and you're right. We're looking, see... It looks like McLaughlin had a 13-second stop in the box. 21 for Arthur Jordan. 29, 27, 23, 25. So I'm not sure if that was enough for all 4 tires. May have been enough for 2 or fuel. And if it's fuel, that means these guys are not running a full tank of fuel here. Very limited. But to see them go in but not the leaders, that is definitely a surprise. So I'm wondering... if it was just to fix a little bit of damage potentially, or if they put 2 tires on these cars.
It could have been one of many different things. A 2-tire strategy could definitely work. You're going to be using those right sides sliding around on the outside lane. It could have been for fuel, not necessarily to make it to the end, but also to get a little bit of weight on the rear end so it's a little more planted with these older tires. Or if they somehow could have timed it out to get all 4 tires, definitely take them. But if it was just for fuel, it wasn't necessarily to get to the end of the race, just for that car to feel a little more stable through some of the higher speed portions of the track.
Yeah, and we've seen it time in and time again. You know, like you said, it's not necessarily about the fuel having it to last, but weight distribution. You know, whether it's a fixed setup or a open set, as we'll get to that here in a moment, as we got a caution, and it is a parking lot on the racetrack.
Big one.
Multiple
and
cars.
Goes in it.
Poor Matthew Burgoyne getting involved in that one, as we'll take a look and see exactly what happened to him. As don't know if he was in start of this or just got tangled up in it, but we're about to find out real quick. Is see exactly what happened. The caution out, replay on your screen. And this was up here. We know the 41 was involved. 41 tags the 00, and it is on from there.
Yeah, nowhere for the 38 to go. And, they just keep piling in. Very unfortunate for some of these guys that were running up front. But just based off of the new faces new names in the top 5, I would have to say that these pit stops that happened on lap 83 were for tires just based off of pure pace. I mean, Andrew McLaughlin, Arthur Jordan, Nick Dyer, all of these guys were 10th or worse when they did come in, and now they're up in the top 5. So I would have to say these guys took tires and they used them to their advantage.
Yeah, they definitely are. And while we're under caution, I want to remind everyone, you are watching iRacing on LSRTV for the Maine Sim Racing Series. And this race is brought to you by Wiscasset Speedway. And we have their announcer and promoter in the booth with us. And, we like asking them all these fun questions. And, you saw that wreck there. It was a big car pile up. Everyone got going around and going again. As a promoter, is that something you really like to see when there's a few cars piled up? They all get going, you get back out on the track, and you don't have to send all the push trucks and the wreckers and all that out there to clear the track.
Yeah, and it's an attention getter for the fans. It's no lie. Some fans are there to see the spins and the wrecks and things like that. So it adds to the excitement of the show, adds to the frustration of some of the drivers. But it's nice when everyone's able to drive away and you can send your cleanup crew right back to the infield.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it don't, but it's always nice, speeds that program up a little bit. But, like you said, there are those fans that, come out to see those big wrecks and pile-ups. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, as a fan, when I go to watch, which is rare these days, unfortunately, because I'm always working. But, I want to see at least one big, no one hurt but a red flag, because they got to clean the track up, because that's my hot dog hamburger time, and I got to be able to get down to it. But we're green flag
exactly.
is back out again, and we are racing here in Brockton. 22 laps to go is all that remains, and these guys are honoring my wish where I get to eat a little dinner here as we are moving along. I will note we only have 11 minutes left, so we do not need any more cautions.
Yeah, and so far so good, as PJ Murrell gets a very good restart. He's about half a second in front of the field, and don't look now, but here comes Arthur Jordan in that number 4 Budweiser machine. He is very, very fast, and we already know that he's very aggressive. So if I am the 26 of Andrew McLaughlin, I am starting to get worried of how close that rear bumper is getting to the nose of the 4. And you see it there, he overdrives the exit a little bit, gets sideways. But all these guys are on the same strategy of tires, and they're very, very fast compared to the leader.
Yeah, and unlike the newer car, the new stock cars, the new factory stocks that you would see in racing, well, at least on the dirt side, not so much asphalt. We only have one asphalt track here in Texas, but it's unfortunate. But, a lot of them now have more flat bumpers, whereas you look at these, they have that pointed, scoop of a nose, and the back bumper's up, so you can really get under somebody's bumper before you even notice it, and get under there and just turn them around. So some aggression, some not knowing. Yeah, you got to back them up. So, it's tough for these guys, but definitely good, and the caution is out one more time.
Yeah, and it's the 11 of Chris Forder getting turned around there. Looks like some damage to the rear end of that car, and it looks like, yeah, to the right side. So that's definitely some... Oh, and it sounds like something's dragging on that car, too.
Yeah, we're about to find out here
here
exactly what happened. But yeah, I agree with you. Something definitely not right. It was dragging, and the 59 gets
the
into
59.
the wall.
And he spins to avoid it. Is he going to come back up the track? Nope, just a spin to avoid. All right. Well, good on him for keeping it out of the racing groove there and not hitting the 59.
And I can't tell, is that a potato chip or a potato on the side of his car?
I can't tell either.
It looks like a potato waving with a headset on. I'm not sure, but that is indeed what it looks like.
It does look like a potato, but I can't... Huh.
Interesting
Yeah,
one
I'm not
there.
sure.
We'll have to get a hold of him if we get a chance to see. But yeah, it definitely looks like a potato waving. So interesting one there. Let's see. Maybe we can get a different angle of the 11 here. And let's see what we got here. See if we got any. There we go. And
it is a potato.
I believe it's tater chip.
It's an old saying, let her rip, tater chip. So
I love it. And he's not waving; he's giving you the hook 'em horns.
That's right, let her rip.
Yeah, I love it. You know, you never know what you're going to see on these cars, but yeah, let her rip, tater chip. Absolutely.
I don't know if that's a saying down in the south where you guys are, but up here, that you hear that a lot. So.
We definitely hear that one here too. I usually say it when I'm opening a bag of Doritos, but we definitely do hear it quite a bit as well. And you know, just loving the paint job these guys do on these cars. We got 15 laps to go. Lights are off. It's gonna be 14 to go when we take the green, and then we get to go to post race and we get to talk to these guys about running these street stocks versus the super late models. So definitely looking forward to that. Unfortunately, doesn't look like we're going to get to talk to Matthew Burgoyne after being caught up in that. He had such a strong run and potentially, maybe not 100% solid, but maybe not the finish he wants here tonight.
Well, 15 laps to go. The green flag back out. We're double stacked once again. DJ Merle gets a beautiful jump and goes straight to the top side, and we've got Andrew McLaughlin and Arthur Jordan side by side for P2. McLaughlin gets into the wall, so Jordan's now going to have the opportunity to send it in on the inside, moves him up the track just a tad, and meanwhile PJ just trying to keep it clean and keep it green, and almost goes around the 4, getting a little bit sideways coming into turn 1.
Yeah, 13 going on 12 laps to go at the line. Nick Dyer, we haven't talked about him a whole lot in the 88 machine. Here he is sitting in the 4th position in that, again, the 88 machine Logitech iRacing car, and he's going to get a little fender rub there with the 4.
Oh, we got contact, the 29.
That is not what these guys wanted to see, and that will bring out the caution for Tyler Jordan, as we'll take a look and see on the replay what happened. It's cautions, definitely breeding cautions here tonight. Ken, you talked about it earlier. Cautions breed cautions, and that's what we're seeing here this afternoon.
Yeah, and it's go time for these guys. This is just like a regular Saturday night 25 lapper, and you just can't wait around at this point. If you think you've got a fast car and you can get up in the top 5, now's the time to do it. You just see he just overdrove the car on exit. Car broke loose on him. He tried to correct it and got into the 60 car. That was kind of self-inflicted on that one.
And, we hate to bring this up. We really do, because it's the last thing we want to talk about. But we have to bring one thing up. And first off, I got to click the right mouse. There we go, so we can go back to the main thing. But something we have to mention here with 11 laps to go, going to be 10 at the line, is we have only 5 minutes left on the clock here in this race. So it's either 10 laps or 5 minutes, and these cautions take about 2 or 3. So we are clicking down. It's going to be very close to find out if we complete the race under time or if we complete it under the laps scheduled distance here for laps.
Yeah, the good thing about iRacing, though, is once you do one lap of caution, you can turn down the caution laps to going green the next time by, and these laps have only been taking 24 seconds, so again, numerically and mathematically, if everything plays out right and we go green flag from here, we will get the scheduled 125 laps, but we've got to get going very, very soon.
Yeah, we definitely do.
PJ Merrill's been really good on these restarts the last couple times. You see him dive right to the bottom to get a good run at the drop of the green flag. Got a beautiful ride there. Looks just like his Super Street he races at Wiscasset Speedway. So I did get a chance to call a race a couple years ago. PJ won the Dave Thompson Memorial here on the Maine Sim Racing Series a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah, and I'm so excited to see the real world and the sim world coming together like, I won't say one big happy family, but one dysfunctional family at least, because no family's perfect. We're all dysfunctional. So we're glad to have the two come together where we get to have real, we get to have Ken here. We get to, have our crew, and they come together and it works out great. And looking forward to many years here with the Maine Sim Racing guys and getting to work with Ken, getting to work with you each year. And, you're more than welcome back. Anytime you want to come out there, we'll definitely put you in the booth. But 7 laps to go, 3 minutes to go. Like you said, Brockton, we do not need any cautions. If we get one more, it's going to push it. But green flag is back out. We are racing with 7 laps to go. PJ Merrill's just got to hang on to this for just a few more laps. If he can hang on to it over McLaughlin, Jordan, Dyer, and Bubar, and he's got this thing in the bag.
Yeah, he didn't get as good of a restart as he normally gets, but he's able to stretch that lead out. I'm worried about Jordan and McLaughlin back there. They are neck and neck, side by side, and door to door. But right now they figure out where everybody's going to stand, and we've got 7 laps to go. PJ still got about a 1/10 of a second lead. McLaughlin and Jordan pushing their cars to the absolute limit, trying to get to the back bumper of Merle. So far, so good, as we got side-by-side action behind them. That's the 60 of Whittle and the 12 of Bubar. Guys going side by side, knowing that it's crunch time. 5 laps to go.
Yeah, 5 laps to go. PJ Merrill out front here. He's still hanging on, and nobody's too close. And I say that they are actually gaining time. It was 3/10 away. Now it's 1.5. Now 1.5 to 2/10 away. So they are right there with him. This race is not said and done for that 00 machine. He is gonna have to work every inch of this track and defend his line and make sure that 26 of Andrew McLaughlin does not get to his inside and try to push him up the track, unless that's the line he likes, and he don't want to push him down. But either way, he's got to defend that line, but he's got a freight train coming behind him with 3 to go.
Yeah, and right now he's looking in the mirror, hoping and praying that 4 can start filling up the mirror of McLaughlin. Get McLaughlin to look in his mirror, make him break that focus to get to the lead, so you have that opportunity to drive away. But you've got to make sure that you run 3 perfect laps, 6 perfect corners as we come to 2 laps to go. And McLaughlin almost had a run. Now he's got to defend from Jordan.
Yeah, this one's going to be a good one. Oh, we got a little looser in the 26. McLaughlin hanging on for dear life. He is pushing that thing for everything it's got.
Yeah, and the 4 is pushing it for everything he's got. And he's going to try to get to the back bumper of the 00, and he turns him. The 4 turns the 00, and McLaughlin's going to take the lead. White flag, 1 lap to go. Sponsored by...
Nobody.
Nobody.
Not officially. It's in the works. We haven't signed the contract yet, but the 26 of McLaughlin is gonna probably win this one. He's just gonna hang on for just another corner or so, and he will lock this thing away, and he does it. It's gonna be Andrew McLaughlin taking the win, and what a race, just that ending. It's been good all night long, and to finish the way it did, I don't think you could have asked for anything better.
Yeah, and McLaughlin is plus 13 positions on the night, went from the back of the pack, worked his way up, was patient all night, and that car doesn't have a speck of damage on it, so kudos to Andrew. A very, very well done race. Well, except for the right side of the car, but that's the side you want to be used up. If the left side's used up, you're getting past. If the right side's used up, you're the one passing people.
And they're still wrecking after the race is over. But Ken, we got you here this one race. Like I said, we'll gladly take you any other time you want to join us here for the series. But what a race. We talked about how good it was going to be, and these guys did not disappoint here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. All the way through the field. You had little problems here and there, but these guys handled themselves very well. Not surprised at all to see Andrew McLaughlin run a patient, clean race to win this one. He's a former driver of the year at Wiscasset Speedway. He's won one of our marquee events, the Coastal 200, and one of the most respected racers that I've known in my 30 years at Wiscasset Speedway.
Definitely looking forward to talking to him here in the post-race show. That being said, it's a little quiet out there, so I say we put on a little of that tube stuff, a little music here, as we'll run through the official, or we'll say unofficial, race results here for tonight. And your top 10 here tonight for the Maine Sim Racing Series is going to be Andrew McLaughlin, as we'll turn that down just a hair of ourselves. Arthur Jordan coming in second. Nick Dyer in third, followed by Corey Bubar, Gleason Smith, PJ Merrill, who unfortunate there towards the end. Nathan Barth, David Greenleaf, Matthew Burgoyne, and Tyler Connolly going to round out your top 10. Brockton.
Yeah, and further down the field, P11 is going to go to the 19 of Dylan Turner. 12th is going to be Cody Childs. 13th is the 13 of Scott Tarpley. 14th is going to Chris Fortner. 15th, Caleb Whittle. 16th, Ed Connolly. 17th, Tyler Jordan. 18th, Cody Verrill. 19th is going to be Logan Melchler. And 20th is going to be Matt Mingo.
And the last few cars here, only 26 technically started, going to be Dominic Kirk, Jacob Heathcote, Kyle Mooney, Dominic Kirk, Jacob Heathcote, Kyle Mooney, Noah Haggett, Brian Conover, and Brian Treadwell actually did not start the race either. He was looked to be scheduled in 26, but we just started a 25 as he did not start, and the rest unfortunately they virtually had to pack it in the trailer and head home a little bit earlier than they wanted to here tonight. But that being said, we're going to step away here for just a moment. We will be back. We'll be talking to those top three drivers as we talk to the 26, the 4, and the 88 here in the Press Box Motorsports post-race show in just a few moments. So hang tight with us, and we will be right back. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit longer, we're rounding the people up. They were too busy partying in the pits, but we do have them back now, or at least one of them. We got Nick Dyer. Nick, a solid finish for you here tonight, and just be honest, that was probably one of the best stock car races we've seen in some time, and you end up coming in third place. But give us your overall thoughts there. It was some beating and banging, some good racing, but a few cautions, not too many. But overall, I think it was a good race. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like from the start, the track was really hard on the tires. So the first part of it, I just tried to save, and I kind of got a little further back than I wanted, and I didn't know if I'd be able to get back to the front. And then I think that one long run we had, people started to fall off, and I could get by a few of them, and then a few people pitted, and I probably should have pitted and made that mistake, but then I must have just lucked out and the tires hung on just long enough to stay where I was.
Yeah, Nick, you had a great run there. You were +4 positions on the night, ended up P3, like we said, but you weren't P3 coming across the start-finish line with 2 to go. Kind of take the audience through the last 2 laps and what unfolded from your point of view.
Yeah, honestly, I was kind of driving out of my mirror because I was just getting looser and looser, and I was focused on just staying fourth and not wrecking. And then I think going through 3 and 4, PJ, I don't know if he got hit or got loose, and then I just went to the bottom, and it worked out that they checked up, and then I had just enough momentum to get by them all, and then just hung on the last few corners.
Well, and Nick, again, before you thank your sponsors, you had a good race all night tonight, and you worked your way there methodically. You said maybe you should have pitted, but it worked out for you in the end. Yeah, again, good run here, but we go to New Hampshire next week, and we're going to talk to Sean about that too. So hopefully he's still here. But New Hampshire, like it, love it, hate it, wish it never existed. What are your thoughts about New Hampshire?
Actually like it quite a bit. I think it requires a lot of patience, and I think in tire saving it won't be as bad as this, but you'll have to not over push it or else you might just wreck on your own. So I think it'll be pretty fun to race at.
Oh, definitely looking forward to it. And any sponsors you need to think on the side of that car?
I don't really have any sponsors, so I just put iRacing and Logitech on it.
Well, there you go, two very good sponsors on the side of the car, even though they're not technically sponsors, but we appreciate supporting them. And again, congrats on the third place finish. And we don't have first or second, unfortunately. So, Sean, you get to be in their place here tonight. You've been doing this for several years now. We're looking forward to many more years to come. You got Wiscasset Speedway sponsoring it. So what are your thoughts on this race? Again, we thought it was an amazing street stock race.
Oh, it was definitely a great race. You really didn't know who was going to win till the very end, and we had some contact there with a few laps to go that jumbled up the order. Andrew ran a great race, was smart about it, and he was in the right place at the right time at the end of it. We don't normally run straight stocks, but the super late models here is really hard to pass, and the straight stocks aren't easy by any means anyway, but we made the decision to run the straight stocks here instead, and I think it was a good decision. Like you said, it was a great race, and I hope everybody enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone enjoyed it. It was a great race. Brockton's got some company going on. That being said, before we give our final thoughts, New Hampshire's coming up. Are we going back to the super late models there, or are we keeping with the street stocks? What do we got planned there for that one? As always, we know it's going to be a good race regardless.
Yeah, we're back to the super late model for New Hampshire. That'll be 100 laps. Only time trials there. We're not going to do heat races for that race. It's going to be time trials because 100 laps there is going to take a little bit longer. So we'll keep the show as short as we can with no heat races and that kind of thing. And then after that is going to be our All-Star race, and that's going to have a fun format and a fun payout, and I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Oh, definitely looking forward to New Hampshire. Looking forward to an all-star race. I always love all-star races. There's stars involved. So, that being said, Brockton, what are your final thoughts? And we'll wrap it up, and we'll call this one a successful, amazing, short track race.
Yeah, I had a great time for my first full race here, and I'm excited for next week. New Hampshire is one of my favorite tracks on the short track list, and I can't wait to see what these guys are able to do, and I'm ready for more.
Definitely ready for more myself. We always enjoy Wednesdays when they get here. The only bad part about this series, and Sean, I think, he might agree, he might not. He likes the break, but the only bad part about this series is right now when it comes to an end. So it's unfortunate. We have to end it, and then we pick it up next Wednesday, and we're all excited again and happy. So we're looking forward to New Hampshire. But on behalf of myself, Charles Wooten, Brockton Packard. I'll call you Mick Packard so many times. Packard, Ken, Sean, everybody here with the league, Wisconsin Speedway for sponsoring it, the Maine Sim Racing Series. We'll see y'all next Wednesday night for another action-packed night of racing with the super late models at New Hampshire.